Ballpark for this evening's non-conference matchup featuring the visiting Florida Gulf Coast Eagles from the Atlantic Sun Conference and your Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. And now get your scorecards ready. Let's meet tonight's starting lineups. First, for the visitors from FGCU. Batting leadoff, the pitcher, number 25, Evan Dempsey. Batting second, the catcher, number 8, John Emery. Batting third and playing third base, number 13, Javier Orstoli. Batting fourth, the left fielder, number 26, Jeremy Comer. Batting fifth, the shortstop, number 1, Wilfred Gonzalez. Batting sixth, the second baseman, number 15, Caden Hessemeyer. Batting seventh and playing center field, number 19, Cole Lasher. Batting eighth, the first baseman, number 30, Jared Nelson. Rounding out the nine for Florida Gulf Coast, the left fielder, number 20, Brandon Gonzalez. FGCU is coached by assistant coaches Rusty McKee, Steve McKee, and Matt Reed. The athletic trainer is Matthew Fabian. And the head coach of the Eagles in his 24th season is Dave Gillette. And now, the starting lineup for your Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Leading off and playing shortstop, number 29, Eric Almonte. Batting second, the left fielder, number 1, Darryl Lee. Batting third and playing second base, number 2, Jeter Bueno. Batting fourth, the third baseman, number 10, Michael Osena. Batting fifth, the first baseman, number 33, Jorge Rodriguez. Batting sixth, the catcher, number 44, Jose Fernandez. Batting seventh in right field, number 5, Michael Rodriguez. Batting eighth and playing center field, number 19, Sergio Rivera. Rounding out the nine for the Wildcats, the designated hitter, number 7, Christopher Watson. And on the mound for the Wildcats, the right-hander, number 34, Harvey Abreu. The assistant coaches for Bethune-Cookman are Eric Cartine and Joel Sanchez, Hunter Allen, and the graduate assistant is Peter Baskins. The head coach of the Wildcats in his 7th season is Johnny Hernandez. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your caps as we honor America with the play our national anthem.
Live from Jackie Robinson Ballpark in beautiful downtown Daytona Beach, Florida. It's time for the start of a very important non-conference series for Bethune-Cookman baseball as the Wildcats take on the Eagles of Florida Gulf Coast. Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Michael Torello. Happy to have your company. Jade Barquette joins me from Jackie Robinson Ballpark, and this should be a lot of fun, Jade. This series is getting some national attention. Scouts are everywhere here at the Jack tonight to watch a ton of players from both sides this should be a high-level weekend of baseball.
I'm really excited for this matchup between FGCU and the Wildcats. FGCU started off on an 8-game win streak and then kind of lost a few games but gained it back. They're coming off a loss versus UCF, but this is a team that can hit. They've already had 15 home runs this season. And for BCU, they're coming in off that tough loss to Miami and Coral Gables a few days ago. Hard-fought game, very competitive between both sides. Just saw a lot of pitching changes and really a coach's duel in that one. So really excited to see what the Wildcats put up today. And watch out for the Wildcats on the base pass. This is a team that steals bases continuously. They actually ranked 4th nationally in stolen bases with 44 so far this season. So these are Wildcats that want to get runs across the board early and often.
And they ran a lot last weekend against Delaware State. Over half of their steals coming in those 4 games. Florida Gulf Coast will be led by their two-way star, Evan Dempsey. Dominant on the mound, ridiculous at the plate. He is who most of the scouts here tonight are here to see, and he leads off immediately. Not often you see a two-way player in college baseball, but he is the Ohtani of FGCU.
And that's why the scouts love him. It's a part of the reason why the scouts love him, right? If you got to get a guy that's as versatile as he is, you can plug him in so many different spots and still allow him to shine. It's impeccable.
Here comes Evan Dempsey to the plate. Harbor-String Abreu toes the mound for the Wildcats and the Maroon Caps. Maroon jerseys, Wildcats script on the front in gold numbers with the white trim and white pants. FGCU, blue caps and helmets, blue jerseys, gray pants with a blue stripe down the side. We are underway. The righty Abreu to the lefty Dempsey. Abreu rocks and fires. Fastball, low, ball 1, and we are underway here at the Jack on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV. Harbor-String Abreu making his 4th appearance of the season. An ERA under 1.82 for Abreu through his first 3 starts. Swinging a foul tip by Dempsey to the right-hand side. Rest of the numbers on Abreu. He is 0-0, 3 no decisions, 11 innings. Has allowed 2 runs on 10 hits, just 1 earned, striking out 11 and walking 2. And Abreu deals the 1-1. Breaking ball outside, didn't catch the zone.
Abreu, a 4-pitch mix guy. His command is what makes him so well. You just saw a ball up there. He wanted Dempsey to chase that one. He's a guy that's going to control the mound. He's going to take his time, get the right pitch for the batter, and work as one as well with his defense.
Dempsey grounds it foul first base side, and it's 2-2. Dempsey as a batter is a .367 average on the season. Already 19 runs on 18 hits, 8 doubles, a homer, and 8 RBI. This FGCU team, one of the best offenses in the country, batting .337 as a unit. Here's the 2-2, grounded foul first base side. Again, the count holds. Florida Gulf Coast 10-3 coming into this evening's matchup. Wildcats 9-4. Both of these teams dropped their midweek contests on Wednesday night. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. Dropped by Fernandez behind the plate. He recovers for out number 1 and strikeout number 12 on the year for Harvey Abreu. Feels good when you can strike out your opponent's statistically best guy first plate.
And get the leadoff man out. It's very important for the Wildcats to not let that first hitter or their first batter get on base. Something that happened a lot at Delaware State actually in their 3rd game. So for him to get that first out, first batter, huge for the Wildcats. 7
of the 9 innings in that 3rd of 4 games. The Hornets got the leadoff man aboard. The Wildcats ended up winning that game 14-8. There's a first pitch fastball strike outside of the catcher, John Embry. Embry, a .373 hitter. 16 runs on 22 hits. 7 doubles, the team leading 5 homers and 22 RBI. Abreu deals. Off the end of the bat into right field. Michael Rodriguez tracks that one down on the line for out number 2. That'll be Javier Gorostola. He has the highest average on the team at .429. 12 runs on 24 hits, 6 doubles, 2 homers, and 16 batted in, slugging 43, Gorostola. First pitch down and away. Both of these teams evenly matched, both offensive and defensively, on team statistics. The Wildcats come in with an ERA of 3.94. Abreu deals. There's a fastball strike down Broadway, 1-1. Florida Gulf Coast, a team ERA of 4.77. But very even across the board. As that one's in the dirt, 2-1, including just a 0.1% differential in fielding percentage. One on Gorostola. 2 down, top 1. Abreu deals. Ground ball, third base side. Lucena dives, can't get there, and Florida Coast has a 2-out base runner.
That ball hits extremely hard. Right past Lucena over there at third. Not typically a third baseman. He's been behind the plate, even a DH for the Wildcats. Injuries have plugged him in there at third. Went down for that ball, just hit extremely hard through the gap there.
Yep. The Wildcat defensive lineup has not changed since last weekend. Abreu pitching, Fernandez catching. Lucena at third. Almonte moves from second to short, swapping with Jeter Poyedo. First pitch outside, ball 1 to Jeremy Comer. Jorge Rodriguez at first. The outfield left to right is Darrell Lee, Sergio Rivera, and Mikey Rodriguez. Abreu behind of the count, 1-0 on Comer. Pitch. Swing and a miss. Swung through the breaking ball, and it's 1-1. Comer, sophomore, batting .296. 13 runs on 16 hits, a double, a triple, 4 homers, and 12 RBI. So Comer and Embury, as he rockets that one over Poyedo's head, and there's 2 straight base hits for Florida Gulf Coast. As I mentioned, Comer and Embury combining for 9 of the 15 home runs that the Eagles have so far this season. So now 2 on, 2 out for the shortstop, Wilfred Gonzalez, the junior, batting .380. 9 runs on 19 hits for Gonzalez, 4 doubles, 7 RBI, and a chance to give the Eagles an early lead. First pitch down low from Abreu, ball 1. Dempsey struck out, Embury lined out to right, and Gorostola and Comer singled to the left side and right side respectively, and they're on second and first with 2 down here in the first. Abreu misses upstairs, 2 balls, no strikes. And it's important for the Wildcats to not get behind early, because after a 4-game series last weekend and a late midweeker on Wednesday, bullpen pretty stretched thin coming into this weekend's contest. That one bounced towards short. Tough play for Almonte. He'll go to the second base bag himself to retire the side. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 left. And we go to the bottom of the first. FGCU scoreless. Wildcats coming to bat. You're listening to Bethune-Cookman University Baseball on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV. We go to the bottom of the first here at Jackie Robinson Ballpark. Wildcats coming to bats. And for the second time in the first 3 conference series, Jane, the Wildcats are going to have to contend with one of the top arms in the country. We've already seen it with Yale, and now here comes Evan Dempsey for Florida Gulf Coast. And muddying the waters even more as he's a switcher. He throws righty but hits lefty.
Just adds to his complete package as a player.
Eric Almonte will be the first man to face Dempsey. The righty deals a fastball strike inside corner, strike 1. Dempsey has a 1.5 ERA in 3 appearances, 1 complete game so far on the season. 18 innings pitched. He's given up 4 runs on 8 hits, 3 of those earned, walking 3 and striking out 26. That one foul away to the left-hand side on a fastball low and in. And it's 0-2 on Almonte. Almonte, the senior, batting .286 in the leadoff spot. 8 runs on 14 hits, 2 doubles, 9 RBI for Eric. Fastball up and out, waste pitch, 1-1. And already accolades pouring in for Dempsey early on in the season. He was named to the two-way player of the year watch list. And he was the reigning winner of that award from 2025. There were 49 players on that two-way player of the year watch list. He's already been Atlantic Sun Conference Pitcher of the Week once. That was on opening weekend. Strike 3 called. Fastball low and away. And Almonte goes down for 1 away. And against a pitcher like this who can locate so well, you gotta be defensive up there. You can't watch stuff on with 2 strikes.
Yeah, you have to be a little bit more aggressive actually on the plate. You have to make sure that you're so tuned into what you're seeing. And Darrell Lee is a fantastic hitter at the plate. He knows exactly what he's looking for, and he has the eye for the ball to drive it.
That's a wicked breaking ball that misses down and into Darrell Lee, who's been far and away the best hitter in the SWAC so far this season, batting .413, 20 runs on 19 hits, 8 doubles, a triple, a homer, and 8 RBI. As he watches one down low, he's ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Dempsey won that A-Sun Pitcher of the Week award on opening night when he, oh my, that's on the hip of Darrell Lee. That's a tough one to wear. Darrell Lee's kind of been a magnet. That's his 9th hit by pitch of the season. Oh, sorry, his 4th hit by pitch of the season. Still, that hurt. That was a fastball, looked like in the low 90s.
And he's pointing right to his back. That lower part of his back right now that he just got hit in. Not a lot of meat there to protect from for Darrell Lee, but he's a tough kid. He's going to walk this one off. I know the trainer came out just to make sure that he was okay.
Yeah,
but
good. Lee gets some applause as well as he trots over to first base. And in a season where the Wildcats have already had to shuffle their lineup around quite a bit due to injuries. You don't want to lose anybody else, especially with conference play looming on the horizon in 2 weeks. 1 on, 1 out. Here's Jeter Poyeto. Poyeto, the first righty that will face Evan Dempsey. Righty to righty, the first pitch. Is a swing and a miss and a fastball up and away. Poyeto batting .262, 12 runs on 11 hits, 3 doubles, 1 homer, and 13 RBI for Poyeto early on in the season. Breaking ball outside on a slider, 1-1. I misspoke. It's next week that Wildcats start conference play. Prairie View A&M will be here the 13th, 14th, and 15th. Be the first time ever that the Wildcats will play Prairie View A&M in the regular season. I've seen them in the tournament several times.
Sneaking up on us faster than we realize.
Breaking ball away, 2-1 on Poyeto. Yeah, I mean, we've been so busy with basketball and softball and tennis and golf and everything else that's going on right now. Days kind of run together. 2-1 on Poyeto. Dempsey behind the count for the first time today will do. And he challenged him with a fastball, and Poyeto missed it. 2-2. So the Wildcats missed the Panthers in the first year that the SWAC regular season went to a single round robin instead of 2 double round robins. Poyeto off the inside of the bat fouled straight back. The only other time that the Wildcats have played the Panthers in baseball since joining the SWAC was in the 2024 SWAC tournament. On opening day of that tournament, they won 16-0. Breaking ball outside, count runs full on Poyeto. The Panthers missed the SWAC tournament last season, a very disappointing year for Panthers baseball. Darrell Lee on first after getting hit by a pitch. Here's the 3-2 to Poyeto after a check back over there. The Wildcats weren't the only competitive team out of the SWAC in the midweek. Florida A&M took Florida all the way. Now the 3-2 from Dempsey. Off the end of the bat, a high pop down the first baseline into foul territory. The first baseman, Nelson, tracking, and he can't find it. And Poyeto will get another chance.
Wind blowing a little bit here in Jackie Robinson Ballpark, but he just didn't get under the ball enough or see it well off of the bat to make that play in foul territory.
Yeah, he overran it a little bit and then had to course correct back towards the line and couldn't do it. Defensive alignment for FGCU. Dempsey pitching, Embry catching, Gorostola at third, Gonzalez at short, Hessmeyer at second, Nelson at first. In the outfield, it's Gonzalez, Lasher, and Comer left to right. Once again, the 3-2 to Jeter Poyeto. Dempsey will check back to first. Darrell Lee has not been getting a big lead over there, even though he's one of the guys that you expect to steal a ton of bases. He has 4 on the season. The team is led by Sergio Rivera with 11. Once again, the full count delivery is thrown back over to first. FGCU will also start their Atlantic Sun play next weekend at home in Fort Myers against the Queens Royals. That one outside, ball 4, so the throw down to second doesn't matter. The Wildcats will have 2 on with 1 out.
Great at bat for Jeter Poyeto there. Saw about every pitch he possibly could from Dempsey, battled there in the box and earned himself a walk, really allowing the Wildcats to get some runners on base, one in scoring position now for the meat of their lineup.
Only the 7th walk allowed by Evan Dempsey on the season in 18 innings pitched. Now here's Michael Lucena, who's been one of the more surprising Wildcats to start the season. Lucena enters the game as he watches a breaking ball outside, ball 1. With a 9-game hitting streak. And he started the season as time is called behind the plate. That'll be a pitch clock violation against Dempsey. But yeah, so Lucena entered the year in the first series of the season down in the 7th spot, as he watches a fastball at the letters. But he has worked his way up to the cleanup spot in this order, batting .381, 10 runs, 16 hits, 2 doubles, 9 RBI. Apologies for the extraneous noise. It is the end of Bike Week here in Daytona Beach.
Thank goodness.
10,000 motorcycles in town as Lucena fouls it back, and it's 2-2.
I've seen more bikes than I've ever seen in my entire life, and I think I'm okay with it.
Well, it's something you get used to growing up here. You're not happy about it, but you get used to it. And you understand that it'll be over in a week, and then you can go back to your daily life. Breaking ball just pushed foul by Lucena off the inside of the bat. We should have a high level of pitching throughout the weekend in this series. Dempsey deals, breaking ball swing and a missed, strike three. Finally got a K with the slider. And Lucena down on strikes. 2 away in the inning. Here's Jorge Rodriguez. Rodriguez has started to turn his season around offensively, batting .231, 6 runs on 9 hits, 3 doubles, 9 batted in, slugging .308. But for the first 2 weeks of the season, he was batting well under 200. He was a beneficiary of that Delaware State series where the Wildcats put up a ton of runs. Swing and a miss, way ahead of that 12-6 curve, and he's down 0-1. Wildcats scored 14 runs 3 times and 15 runs once against Delaware State last weekend. Dempsey trying to get out of the first inning the same way that Harvey Abreu did. Pitch inside, almost hit him. Rodriguez leans out of the way, and it's 1-1. FGCU started with 2 straight sweeps in a midweek, swept North Dakota State and Stonehill, beat Minnesota in a midweek at home in Fort Myers. That one's lined to left field, a base hit down the line. Rounding third and charging home is Lee. That ball gets all the way to the wall. Holding up at third is Poyeto, and the maroon and gold are on the board. It's 1-0.
And that's the power that the Wildcats have. Jorge Rodriguez, who was out of the lineup for a few games last week, in and out of the first base spot. He's been DH as well. Really needed to start having a good week, and he has put together some quality at-bats. That one probably at the top of his list so far. An RBI double for number 33 for the Wildcats, who has been imperative in the lineup in this last week and a half.
Rodriguez picks up his 10th ribby of the season, and here's Jose Fernandez, one of those players who's played a couple of different spots due to some injuries. In at catcher tonight, breaking ball strike inside corner to the righty. Fernandez batting .341, 10 runs on 15 hits, 4 doubles, 2 homers, the only Wildcat with multiple homers on the year, and 10 batted in. He's got Poyeto on third, Rodriguez on second with 2 outs in the first. The Wildcats with a 1-run lead. He's down 0-2 as that fastball upstairs is waved at and missed. One of the consistent issues at the plate at the back end of last year for the Wildcat hitters was up and out fastballs. They swung at them consistently and they didn't hit many of them. Upstairs, wasted a pitch is Dempsey, and it's 1-2. Jose Fernandez, one of those players that has been given a pretty big promotion from last season to this season, was a off-the-bench guy, pinch hitter last year, has been an everyday starter in this season, has started all 13 of the Wildcats contests, either at designated hitter or catcher, can also play first base in a pinch.
Fernandez, you just got a little slow down hand signal from Jeter Poyeto over there at third base. This guy is going to swing hard, but needs to be disciplined with Dempsey's pitches.
Dempsey ahead in the count, deal, swing and a miss. 3 strikeouts from Dempsey, but a run on 1 hit and 2 left. And we go to the second inning of play here at Jackie Robinson. It's Wildcats 1, Eagles nothing. You're listening to Bethune-Cookman University Baseball on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV. To the second inning we go here in Daytona Beach. 1-0 Bethune-Cookman as the Wildcats draw first blood against FGCU. Eagles will try and hit back with Caden Hessemeyer, the second baseman, who will lead off against Harvey Abreu. Beautiful night for baseball. Temperature at game time, 70 degrees, partly cloudy. Wind 12 miles an hour in from right field. That one's hit high in the air to left center field. Sergio Rivera tracking and on the move makes the catch. One pitch, one away for Abreu in the second.
That's also something that's going to be important. Low pitch counts for Abreu. You mentioned earlier, bullpen's maybe a little bit strained because of the midweek with Miami, trying to win that one as hard as they could. Obviously, Delaware State, 4 games, used a lot of pitchers. If Harvey Abreu can give them a solid 4 or 5, the Wildcats would be sitting pretty for the rest of the series.
Here's Cole Lasher, the center fielder. First pitch to him is a fastball strike down the middle. Lasher, the freshman, started 12 of the 13 games so far for FGCU. 6 runs on 15 hits, batting .357. 2 doubles and 4 batted in for Lasher as well. Abreu deals, high fly, left center field. That's pretty deep. Lee goes back, Rivera calls him off, and there's 2 away. We've talked about the lack of power, quote-unquote, for the Wildcats early on in this season. Only 5 home runs. You expected a lot more from a team that hit a ton last year, almost 100 homers. But I think the early season conditions here at Jackie Robinson have really deadened the baseball. You talk about the wind blowing in off the river pretty constantly through the first 3 weeks. Tonight it's a bit more mild than it has been, as that's a first pitch ball low to Jarrett Nelson. But the addition of the Advent Health Complex affects the wind in the stadium off to the right-hand side, and we just haven't seen the balls fly out of here, as there's a fastball strike outside corner, 1-1, as we have the last couple of years. And I think that's contributing to a lot of the frustration that maybe us and some other the Wildcats fans are having with the lack of power, quote unquote.
But they're still winning games, and they're still having runs and hits scored across. They've had 109 runs scored this season, 127 hits and 90 RBI. So this team, whether they lack power, yes, but it doesn't really apply for them when it comes to the win category. If they can knock runs together or hits together to get in runs, that's really all they're going to care about at the end of the day.
1-2 to Nelson, down and away, 2-2.
And I talked to Darryl Lee earlier this week. He said that I asked him kind of, why is small ball baseball working for you guys right now? And he said that we can do it all. We can bunt, we can hit for power, we can pass the bat to the next guy. Every single person in this BCU lineup is effective.
High fly ball foul into the river on the third base side. Nelson, the senior, batting .255, 12 runs on 13 hits, 2 doubles, 3 homers and 18 batted in. You saw a little bit of his power there, as that went about 400 feet the wrong way. Breaking ball just caught up to and tap foul on the third base side. Jarrett Nelson, the senior from Missouri, transfer from Fort Scott Community College. Abreu looking for a clean inning number 2. Here's a 2-2 pitch once again. Check swing. Did he go? No. As the Wildcats were starting to walk off the field, they thought that Abreu got Nelson and will go for the full count. Abreu checks his wrist and deals the payoff. Breaking ball outside, ball 4, missed with the slider. One of the things that we lamented last year, and what really hurt the Wildcats in the postseason, was not being able to get through innings cleanly. A lot of 2-out runs against, a lot of 2-out base runners against. As Nelson reaches with 2 outs, and for the first 2 innings in a row now, Abreu's gone out, out, and then allowed at least one base runner. Here's the 9-hole hitter, Brandon Gonzalez. First pitch to him is a fastball inside, ball one. And if you want to keep those pitch counts down, keep the bullpen out of it, you got to clean up these 2-out innings and not allow teams like Florida Gulf Coast to extend and get more guys to the plate, because you know they will hurt you. Righty to lefty, here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, missed on the breaking ball. Brandon Gonzalez is a senior batting .333, starting only his second game of the season. 3 runs on 3 hits and 9 at-bats, 2 doubles and an RBI for Gonzalez. Swing and a miss again as he is well in front of that breaking ball. Jarrett Nelson leads off at first after a 2-out walk. Caden Hessemeyer and Cole Lasher both flew out to center field. The 2-strike pitch. Swing and a miss. Fastball down in the dirt. And that'll be the end of the inning. Second strikeout for Abreu. We go to the bottom of the second. 1-0 Wildcats here on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV. We go to the bottom of the second. Wildcats 1, Florida Gulf Coast 0 here on a beautiful night for baseball on the East Coast of Florida. Mikey Rodriguez leads off for Bethune-Cookman. They've got a 1-0 lead and really made Evan Dempsey work in that first inning. Dempsey threw 28 pitches. 2 of his base runners faced were a walk and a hit by pitch. First pitch swinging for Rodriguez, high pop to the middle of right center. It'll be the center fielder, Lasher, to make the catch. So both teams in the second inning, 1 pitch, 1 out, and a fly ball to center field. That hit by pitch that was taken by Darrell Lee in the first was the 32nd of the season for the Wildcats. That moves them up to 14th in all of Division I for most hit by pitches.
And they definitely take contact very well. We saw a little bit in the Delaware State series where most of those happened. Things were getting a little bit chippy towards the end of that series.
Sergio Rivera watches a ball upstairs. Rivera batting .308, 13 runs on 12 hits. No extra base hits, 6 RBI. 1-0. Caught the knees with the fastball 1-1. Rivera's also walked 9 times, second on the team behind Eric Almonte, and been hit by 2 pitches. He struck out 13 times, which is the most on the team. Breaking ball, that dropped off a cliff into the zone for strike 2. Gorostola at third is really creeping in, kind of expecting a bunt. Rivera, one of the speedier guys on the team, leads the Wildcats in stolen bases. Now he'll back off and play normal depth on an 0-2 count. The pitch. Swing and a miss. 3 straight strikes. Down goes Rivera. Strikeout number 4 for Dempsey. He got all 3 of his outs in the first on strikeouts. Struck out Almonte, Lucena, and Fernandez around the hit by pitch, walk, and RBI single. Now here's Chris Watson, playing designated hitter tonight, starting only his 3rd game of the season. 8 at-bats for Watson. He's got 5 runs on 3 hits, 4 RBI. And he punches one foul to the first base side out of play. Watson mostly been used as a pinch runner and has been the winning run in both of the Wildcat walk-offs.
Yep.
Against. He squares to bunt, pops it foul straight back off the roof.
He's been in this program for a while now, a tested senior, a veteran in this lineup, and he's a guy that will plug in wherever his team needs him to be. He didn't play for a big chunk of the first part of the season, and then has stepped into different sort of roles on the field and just taking everything in stride as Chris Watson. He's a guy that you need in your locker room.
He's another one of those Swiss Army knife type players. Can play all 3 outfield positions. Can pinch run. Kind of got that track star build. Punches one in the air. That is going to be caught by the first baseman, Nelson. And 1-2-3 go the Cats. We go to the 3rd inning. 1-0 Bethune-Cookman over Florida Gulf Coast here on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV. We go to the 3rd. First time through the order is done for Florida Gulf Coast. Evan Dempsey returns to the plate. Struck out his first time up against Harbor-String Abreu, who is getting ready to throw pitch number 34. And he bounces it to the plate, and it's 1-0. Dempsey is coming off of a 2025 where he was a consensus first-team All-American by Perfect Game, Baseball America, D1Baseball.com, and others. He was the National Two-Way Player of the Year, invited to the USA Baseball Collegiate National Team, which Coach Hernandez is one of the coaches for that team, so very familiar with Dempsey. Check swing by Abreu. He didn't go around, and it's 2 balls, no strikes. First team All-Sun last year, Dempsey. 15 appearances with 10 starts on the mound, but also led the team in hits, doubles, as he got hit on the foot. Oh, no, he didn't. It'll be 3-0. It sounded like it hit him on the foot. Maybe it just tapped the plating of Fernandez behind the plate. Either way, it's a 3-0 count for Dempsey. Called strike. And it's 1-3. Sorry, 3-1. Led the team in hits, doubles, hit by pitches last year with a 197 average on the mound. Abreu trying not to walk his second batter of the night will rock and fire. And he does walk him with a fastball inside. So leadoff man aboard for FGCU for the first time tonight. Here's John Enbury, who lined out to right field his first time up.
The catcher, number 8, John Enbury.
Johnny, C1, baby.
Here you go, John.
Enbury from Port Charlotte, out of Venice High School in South Florida, now in his second season, his sophomore year with the Eagles. Breaking ball outside as Abreu struggling a little bit with command here as we get to the third. I think maybe trying to be a little bit too cute with it, try and pitch around some of these hitters as we start the second time through the order. Throw back to first. This is not an FGCU team that steals a ton of bases. Only 7 total steals among players in the starting lineup. Dempsey has 2. Breaking ball, foul away, third base side. It's important for Abreu to go long tonight, not just for the Wildcat bullpen, but really for his own confidence, because in 2 of his first 3 starts, Jade, he's been abruptly pulled from the game, one due to a tightness in his hamstring. That was on opening night against Bradley. And then that was, oh boy, high fly ball, deep left center field. That ball is way out of here onto the scoreboard, and it's 2-1 FGCU. It was only a matter of time before they hit one. John Enbury with his team-leading 6th home run of the season.
That ball was absolutely blasted. As soon as it came off the bat, you knew that was going over. What a swing by Enbury. And now we'll see a little bit of discomfort maybe from Abreu on the mound there. You never want to give up runs, especially home runs like that, multiple run home runs as well when your team has a lead early on in this game. But he's a competitor. He's a true competitor there on the mound, and he's going to go right back to work. He's going to throw strikes and allow his defense to work behind him.
What a swing by Enbury. That was up and in fastball, and he just turned on it, put the meat of the bat on it, and sent it out to the scoreboard in left center field. 2-1 FGCU. First pitch a strike to Javier Gorostola, who singled to left field his first time up. Ground ball towards short. Almonte fields deep in the hole, spins and fires and pulls Rodriguez off the bag. The ball gets away into the bullpen, and headed to second on the air is Gorostola. And here we go again with the defensive miscues.
It looked like the umpire kind of got in the way of that ball a little bit, or Georgie couldn't have reached all the way over to grab it because he was in the way. We don't have the ability of replay here at the Jack, so we can't confirm or deny that. But yeah, those defensive errors have plagued the Wildcats this season in pivotal moments too.
Wildcats are second last in the SWAC in fielding percentage, entering the game with a .960 fielding percentage. First pitch swing and a miss by Jeremy Comer on a breaking ball in the dirt. They've committed now 20 errors on the year. Abreu deals. Comer pops it up behind the plate. Fernandez will let it drop. So now both teams have a really inexplicable drop foul ball. FGCU had one in the first that eventually allowed a run to score, and now Fernandez looked like he completely lost that one as it drops next to him.
Well, I think he left it for Lucena, who was charging in, and it looked like he there were words exchanged between one of them or both of them because Fernandez was tracking it the whole way and Lucena charged in from third right behind him, looking as if he was going to catch it, and I don't think there was clear communication between the two who was going to grab that.
So Jeremy Comer gets a second lease on life with Goristola on second, nobody out, already 2 in the inning on the John Embury 2-run home run. Jeremy Comer lined to right field for a single his first time up, was caught out on a fielder's choice. That ended the inning. Important for the Wildcats to lock this one down. Even early on, FGCU can put up a ton of runs. That one is lined right off the glove of Poyeto and into right field. The ball slowed up enough that Goristola will hold at third. And for the second straight time, it's a hard hit single to right for Comer. And runners on the corners with nobody out. Here's Wilfred Gonzalez, who grounded into the fielder's choice that ended the first inning.
Catch obviously would have been a best case scenario, but the fact that it tipped off his glove enough to give Mikey some time to run in from right field and keep that run at bay at third is huge for the Wildcats. So Abreu can work here, try to get another out in this inning. We're at none right now.
Runners on the corners. First pitch to Gonzalez. He waves and misses it, a slider away. Both of these teams lead their respective conferences in batting average. Florida Gulf Coast leads the ASUN with .337. The Wildcats on top of the SWAC with .322. Breaking ball, punch toward first, caught by Gonzalez. He steps on the bag for a double play. Oh, the Wildcats needed that one.
What a great play by Georgie over there at first. The IQ to just step on the bag as the runner had taken off, thinking that ball was going to get through. Bang, bang play there, and just like that, the Wildcats have 2 outs.
Caden Hessmeyer bats now with 2 away and Goristola on third. He flew out to center his first time up. Breaking ball low, ball 1. Abreu's pitch count is ballooned. This will be pitch number 50 coming up here in only the 3rd inning. Ground ball foul, sharply hit just outside of third, and it's 0-2 on Hessmeyer. Correction, 1-1 on Hessmeyer. Caden, a sophomore from Odessa, Florida, out of Steinbrenner High School. Abreu trying to get out of a pretty big jam here and keep it only a 2-1 game. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Bounce to the plate. Great job by Fernandez to take that off the chest and keep it from the backstop. Anybody watching who doesn't frequent our broadcasts, I'll let you know now that the backstop is a fair ways back of home plate here at the Jack. So with a runner on third, anything that gets by the catcher is pretty much guaranteed to score your run. Although we did see Jorge Rodriguez get caught in that in the opening weekend of the season as he tried to score from third on a pass ball. The 2-1. Fouled off right at home plate, 2-2. Hessmeyer looking for RBI number 11 on the year, as Goristola leads off third. The 2-2. Barely got a piece of the curve, and the count holds. Both middle infielders with their feet firmly planted on the outfield turf. Trying to keep everything in front of them here with 2 down. Breaking ball bounced toward third. Charging, and it's off the glove of Lucena. Another error for the Wildcats allows Goristola to score, and it is 3-1.
Lucena just tried to get it off of the hop and tried to pick it with his glove. I feel like he could have let it come to him because he had time, 2 outs. You know there's a force out at first. Let that ball come to you. You know how this infield plays instead of trying to pick it and go quickly.
Throw back to first, sliding in is Hassmeyer. He only has 1 steal on the season. The batter is Cole Lasher, flew out to center his first time up. Lasher, the freshman from Fort Lauderdale out of the powerhouse St. Thomas Aquinas High School. I had St. Thomas Aquinas last week at the FHSAA Women's Soccer Championship. Abreu once again trying to get out of the inning. A home run and 2 errors have allowed 3 runs to come across for Florida Gulf Coast. And all of this, oh no, most of it happened with no outs. Then there was the double play for Gonzalez. Check swing, grounded to first. Abreu will take it to the bag himself, and that'll end the inning. 3 runs, 2 hits, including the 2-run home run by Emery, and 2 errors. And it is 3-1 Florida Gulf Coast as we go to the bottom of the 3rd here on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV. Both teams send 9 batters to the plate in the first 2 innings. So we go to the 3rd. Eric Almonte leads off for the Wildcats. They trail 3-1 after a home run and 2 errors allow Florida Gulf Coast to take the lead in the top of the inning. Almonte was one of 4 strikeout victims of Dempsey his first time up. First pitch fastball up and away. It being Friday night, we've got plenty of action going on around the SWAC and the A-Sun. We'll get you rundowns on what's happening in both conferences throughout the night. Almonte slivers it foul to the first base side. 2 games already finished in the SWAC today. Tennessee Martin defeated Mississippi Valley State 12-1. Florida A&M picked up a win over Villanova 4-1 in Tallahassee. Breaking ball in the zone for strike 2 on Almonte. I'm really impressed by Dempsey's curve. Looks like it's going to hang up and be a changeup and then just falls away right in front of the plate. Here's the 1-2. Throws it again and gets the strike 3. Almonte has struck out looking twice in his first 2 ABs.
We talked about this in the first inning, that these hitters have to be aggressive against the pitching of Dempsey. It's deceptive, and he knows where to hit his spots. And for these hitters, especially when they go down with 2 strikes, they have to be aggressive at the plate.
Plenty of action going on around the SWAC right now. Alabama State trails Longwood 3-0 in the bottom of the 3rd in Montgomery. Darrell Lee, that one's fair. Down the 3rd baseline off the end of the bat. It'll nestle itself in the corner. Lee trying to get to second. He'll be there with a stand-up double. So Lee scored the opening run for the Wildcats in the first after getting hit by a pitch. Now he finds himself on second after that one barely crept inside the 3rd base bag.
And I thought that he had pulled the ball at first, but that was an opposite field hit that hit off the end of the bat just inside the base paths and allowed him that extra base. And Darrell Lee, he's been on a hot streak recently with hits, and he just continues that here at the plate.
Now here's Poyeto, who walked his first time up, ended up being stranded on 3rd in the first. USF is up on the Southern Jaguars 5-1 in Tampa in the top of the 6th right now. Poyeto fouls it away to the first base side.
Lee leads the team in hits, just added his 20th. He also leads in batting average, slugging percentage, and runs scored for his team.
Jackson State is on the West Coast. They're taking on the Red Hawks of Seattle University. They're up 4-1 in the 7th. Alcorn State trails the Mercer Bears 14-1 in the 5th. That one tapped back to the screen, 0-2 on Poyeto. Alabama A&M falls to UNC Asheville. That's a Bulldog battle. Final score there, 8-4. And Prairie View loses the first of a doubleheader to Sam Houston State 4-1. Second game upcoming. And the final game in progress right now in the SWAC is Grambling State at Southeastern Louisiana. That's a line drive base hit to left field. That's going to go all the way to the wall, that Toyota side. Cruising in from second is Lee. In to replace him and more is Poyeto. He's going to 3rd, and he slides in safely. RBI triple for Jeter Poyeto. That's one of the hardest hit balls by any Wildcat all season, and it's 3-2.
And what a hit by Poyeto, who worked the count in the first at-bat that he had. Really made Dempsey work for it. That one just shot into left center field. A beautiful hit, scores Lee easily from second, and Poyeto earns his first triple of the season.
I didn't think he was going to get to 3rd because that ball was hit so hard.
The way that Johnny Hernandez was waving his hand, I thought he might create some wind over there trying to get Jeter all the way to the 3rd base.
Now he's 90 feet away from tying this one up. Here's Michael Lucena, struck out his first time up, as he watches one that catches the outside corner. The last game in progress right now in the SWAC is Grambling State 3, Southeastern Louisiana 1. That game is in the bottom of the 3rd in Hammond, Louisiana. Swing and a miss. And it's 1-2 on Lucena, who was the second strikeout victim for Dempsey the first time through the order. So we're going almost the exact same that we had the first time through. Lucena, ground ball up the middle. That's going to be diving, stopped by Gonzalez. He throws to first, not in time. The ball gets away, rolls towards the dugout. Lucena drives in Poyeto, and we are tied at 3. Well, we mentioned right at the top of the broadcast that there would be fireworks this weekend, and we're already seeing it.
Well, I want to talk about that play by Gonzalez at shortstop. That ball hit off the mound and had a weird hop, and he absolutely snuffed that ball from going into center field. Couldn't make the play, obviously, because of how hard that ball was hit and his throw, but what a play over there at short.
Definitely robbed extra bases for Lucena. Now, still 1 out. 3 straight hits, double, triple, single, as Jorge Rodriguez, who had the RBI single in the first, down the 3rd base line, taps it foul. As both of these teams lead their respective conferences in most offensive stats, here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, fastball up and in, 0-2 on Rodriguez. I would expect there not to be many pitchers' duels this weekend, even with the quality of pitching we have on both of these squads. And this is the point of the season, Jade, where you start to creep towards conference play, swing and a miss. Strikeout number 6 for Dempsey, and there's 2 outs. But as you start to creep towards conference play, batters have gotten, on average, 50 to 60 at-bats under their belt, and they're starting to catch up to pitchers who usually start the year with an advantage. Breaking ball, big cut and miss by Fernandez, who was the 3rd and final strikeout victim in the first for Dempsey. So I think as we go along, as the weather warms up as well, we'll start seeing a lot more offense dominate these games. Another breaking ball, that one in the dirt. Nice stop by Embury behind the plate. But what puts the Wildcats over the top, especially in the SWAC, is really the pitching. That one in the air to left field. Charging is Gonzalez. That is going to drop in front of him for a base hit. Going to third and sliding in there safely is Michael Lucena. As the Wildcats now have runners on the corners with 2 down. Fernandez got jammed a little bit there, still muscled it into left field.
Yeah, just because he's so powerful at the plate, that ball just dumped right in between the grass and infield of left field, and Lucena was sprinting from first and was going to make it to third, had to get under the tag there, and well done by the third baseman for the Wildcats.
Here we go. Michael Rodriguez a chance to give the Cats the lead here. 2 outs, runners on the corners. Breaking ball misses outside from Dempsey, who is now up at 54 pitches. So both pitchers cruising through the first 2, then having a little bit of trouble here in the third. That one didn't catch the zone, 0-2. That's like 2-0. Mikey Rodriguez now a junior in his 3rd year with this program. Watches a fastball away, 3 balls and no strikes. Rodriguez made 29 starts last year, about a 269. And looks to be a bigger part of this Wildcats order now as a junior. And he takes a 4-pitch walk as that one misses upstairs of the letters. And the Cats have the bases juiced for Sergio Rivera here with 2 outs in the third.
The center fielder, number 19, Sergio Rivera.
And we're going to have a meeting on the mound here for Florida Gulf Coast, as Dave Tollett trots out to the mound. If you love Bethune-Cookman University sports, then don't miss Hail Wildcats Radio, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of all 15 Wildcat sports programs. Hosted by voice of the Wildcats, Michael Torillo, and featuring the expertise of Bethune-Cookman sports information staff. Hail Wildcats Radio delivers unparalleled coverage of your favorite teams. Tune into 1380 WELE Daytona Beach every Saturday to catch the show live, or listen anytime on your favorite podcast platform. New episode goes up tomorrow, and it may be the most jam-packed show we've ever done.
Yeah.
We talk about tennis, golf, track and field, baseball, softball, men's basketball, women's basketball. We preview the SWAC tournaments for both men's and women's basketball, and talk about every other team on campus, all in an hour and 10 minutes. And I'm still not sure how we did it.
And around the SWAC.
And around the SWAC as well.
Our predictions for the tournament, all of the good stuff. It's definitely worth the listen.
I think the main reason why it was so short is we all had places to be.
I don't even think it was short.
No,
I think it was it was long for. It was short for what we had.
That
cover.
episode could have easily gone 2 hours, but we squeezed it all in about an hour and 10 minutes. 5th straight ball thrown by Dempsey. First pitch to Sergio Rivera after the consultation on the mound. Wildcats with the bases loaded and a tie game at 3. Lucena on third, Fernandez on second. Michael Rodriguez, who just took a walk, stands off first. Rivera watches another one down and away. 2 balls, no strikes. In Dempsey's last start against Boston College went 5 innings, his shortest appearance of the year. Pitch clock violation, and it's 3-0. Yeah, got roughed up a little bit against the Eagles of Boston College, but 5 innings, gave up 4 runs on 4 hits, 3 earned, walked 5, struck out 7. And now he is 1 bad one away from giving the Wildcats the lead here, 3-0 to Rivera. And he wastes it down and away, and the Wildcats take a 4-3 lead. Lucena scores from third, Fernandez goes to third, Rodriguez to second, and Rivera walks to first. 8 straight balls thrown by Dempsey here in this inning.
You can see just a little bit frustrated, wanted to have a conversation with his catcher just to make sure that they're on the same page, Dempsey and Embry, because this could get ugly for FGCU if they don't figure things out right now.
Still no action in the FGCU bullpen. Chris Watson now with the bases loaded and 2 down here in the third. Watson watches a fastball strike down the middle. That's his first strike in 3 batters. Watson popped up calmly to the first base side his first time up. Anything on the outfield here probably scores 2. Watson watches a breaking ball strike, and at some point, I would expect the Wildcats to start catching up to this breaking stuff, wait on it, drive it in the gaps, but hasn't happened yet. A pitch away from getting out of the inning. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. Ran the fastball up and away, and Watson goes down swinging. He once again strikes out the side, but in between, the Wildcats get 2 runs on 4 hits and leave the bases loaded to tie this up. The Wildcats take a 4-3 lead, here on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV. Action-packed ball game here as we go to the 4th, 4-3. Bethune-Cookman over Florida Gulf Coast. The Wildcats played 3 runs in the third to retake the lead here at Jackie Robinson Ballpark. Jarrett Nelson will lead off. It'll be 8-9-1 for the Eagles, as Harvey Abreu approaching the back third of his work most likely this evening. His first pitch to Nelson will be pitch number 58. And Nelson drives this one to deep left field. Back it goes. It's gone. Tie game at 4. Jarrett Nelson hits the 2nd home run of the game for FGCU. His 4th of the season, and it's 4-4.
Again, like I said at the top of the show, FGCU is a team that hits home runs. 15 before this game started, 17 now, hitting 2 bombs in this game already. That's how they're going to accumulate a lot of their runs. That one a solo shot, but the one before had 2 runners on.
First pitch swing and a miss by Brandon Gonzalez. Struck out his first time up. One of only 2 strikeouts so far for Harvey Abreu. Here's the 1-1. Chop foul, 1-2. These two teams have met a lot. Florida Gulf Coast leads 27-15 in the all-time series. 13-6 here in Daytona Beach, 14-9 at home. And they've taken 7 of the last 10 from the Wildcats, including 2 of 3 in Fort Myers last year. That one barely caught up to by Gonzalez and tapped back to the screen. Ground ball, foul outside of first. And we'll do the pitch again at 1-2. And really for the second time this year, the other being the Yale 2-game series. Here's the 1-2, breaking ball down, 2-2. This is a team that the Wildcats very well might see in an NCAA tournament second round.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why it's so important to play these types of teams, right? Wildcats played Miami earlier this week as well. FGCU playing UCF. So these type of teams, especially around here in the state of Florida, where it's so easy access to play them, you don't really have to travel super far to get good competition. In these midweek games and then series on the weekends, it's really good exposure for these mid-major type of teams.
Once again, Gonzalez staying alive on a 2-2 count. I went around the SWAC. Let's take a look around the A-Sun. 2 games completed. Swing and a miss. Second strikeout for Gonzalez as Abreu buckles him with a fastball down and in.
That's the confidence that the VCU needs in Abreu. You saw him, that's just the swagger that he has coming off the mound. That third inning could have really shaken him, and the home run he gave up to the first batter he saw here in the 4th, but he really has just gone right back into his command and his mode on the mound.
Yep. 2 games done in the A-Sun on this Friday. Central Arkansas defeated Arkansas Little Rock 7-1 in the first of a doubleheader there. Evan Dempsey will bat for the 3rd time now. Struck out his first time up, walked in the 3rd, came in on the home run by Embry, who waits on deck. And Stetson lost to Arkansas 7-1 up in Fayetteville. Dempsey off the bottom of the bat, fouled at home plate, 1-1. Other games today: Queens at Georgia, Austin Peay at Utah Tech, West Georgia at Wichita State, Illinois State at Eastern Kentucky, North Alabama at Southern Miss, Mississippi State hosting Lipscomb. And that one hit Dempsey on the leg, so he's now gotten it on in 2 straight free passes. A hit by pitch and a walk. And there's 1 on with 1 out, 1 already in the inning. And here's John Embry, who last time he was up crushed a home run halfway up the scoreboard in left center field. And he's also got Evan Dempsey staring at him from first base again. Rest of the games in the A-Sun today: Jacksonville hosting UNC, North Florida at Alabama, Eastern Illinois hosting Bellarmine. Fouled away third base sign. First pitch on a breaking ball by Embry. Florida Gulf Coast was picked 2nd in the Graphite division of the A-Sun in the preseason poll. Stetson picked number 1, the reigning A-Sun champion, but they have had a tough time of it to start the year over in DeLand across the county from us. Pitch upstairs. Jacksonville 3rd, North Florida 4th, West Georgia 5th, and Queens 6th. Although Queens has been a pleasant surprise early in the season, had an upset win over South Carolina, their first ever Power 5 win. They're just barely eligible after transitioning from Division II, the Queens Royals. In the other division, Austin Peay picked to win the gold division, which is them, Lipscomb, North Alabama, Central Arkansas, Eastern Kentucky, and Bellarmine. Some of the baseball power has left the ASUN in recent years with the departure of both Kennesaw State and Liberty.
Yeah, but ASUN baseball is fun in general. Obviously, you have Austin Peay and Stetson, this FGCU team who has really been up and coming in these years. And when it gets down to tournament time, it's really competitive, and you love to see that in this mid-major type of conference.
Evan Dempsey was the co-preseason player of the year, along with Ray Velasquez of Austin Peay. Check swing and a miss for strike 2 on Embury. Stetson swept the other preseason awards in the conference. Preseason Defensive Player of the Year was Juan De La Cruz, and the preseason Pitcher of the Year is Jake Gorlick, both for the Hatters. Florida Gulf Coast placed 3, well, technically 2, on the preseason All-Sun team. Evan Dempsey and Chris Diaz as starting pitchers, and Evan Dempsey again as an outfielder. The 1-2. High drive left field. There it goes. See ya. My goodness. History repeats itself from last inning. A 2-run homer for Embury off the scoreboard in left center, and it is 6-4.
And that ball was crushed. That wasn't just a normal home run. That was over the scoreboard in left field. An absolute bomb from the man who just, it was like nostalgia. We just watched that happen.
Yeah. We did not hit the replay button.
No, we did not.
That just happened again. Now with 1 out, the base is clear. Here's Javier Gorostola, reached on an error by Eric Almonte in the 3rd. Eventually came around to score the 3rd of those 3 runs in the 3rd. I'm surprised that there is no bullpen work going on for the Wildcats now.
There's a little bit of movement. People are starting to warm up their lower half of their bodies, but just getting down to the bullpen for the Wildcats.
High fly ball, left center field. That'll remain in the yard. Long run for Rivera, but he will get there and track it down for out number 2.
Now batting for FGCU, the left fielder, number 26, Jeremy.
3 home runs already for FGCU.
Go, Comer.
Jeremy Comer has 2 singles, both to the right-hand side, and has been out on the base paths twice. Once on a fielder's choice, and once he got doubled up. Check swing, ball in the dirt. He went around for strike 1. Our umpires tonight are Jimmy Sapp behind the plate, Ryan McCraney and Ivan Daniels in the field. That one down low, 1-1. Home run number 17 ties FGCU for 46th in terms of home runs hit in the country. Georgia's number 1 at 43. 43 home runs. They can't have played more than 12 games so far. That is unbelievable. Dribble foul, third base side, 2 strikes on Comer. Miami's up there in the top 3 with 29 on the year, as well as Vanderbilt, NC State, Ole Miss, and Abilene Christian rounding out the top 5. Breaking ball, skips past Fernandez to the backstop. Full count, 3-2. Comer got a piece of it. Rounded it out to the first base side. And he'll stay alive again. Harvey Abreu getting ready to throw pitch number 76. His most pitches thrown on the year is 80. That was against Yale. Swing and a miss. And down he goes. That's the end of the inning, but 3 runs on 2 home runs for FGCU. And they take a 6-4 lead here at the Jack over Bethune-Cookman as we go to the bottom of the 4th on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV.
Wildcats, the shortstop, number 29, Eric Almonte.
Eric Almonte leads off the 4th as the Wildcats begin their 3rd time through the order, trailing the Florida Gulf Coast Eagles 6-4. First pitch, a breaking ball outside, hit off the helmet, looks like, of the catcher, Embury. "65 pitches through 3 innings for Dempsey. Has gone as deep as 95 into a game. That was in his 5-inning appearance last time out against Boston College. Through 84 against Stonehill and 77 against North Dakota State. So the Wildcats going to have to do a lot of work if they want to get Dempsey out of here early. Almonte has struck out twice, both looking as he fouls that one back to the screen. And it's 2-1. Upstairs. These two teams played last year in a 3-game series in Fort Myers. FGCU won 2 games. The Wildcats won the middle game. Rocketed into the glove of Nelson at first. A tremendous stretching catch for out number 1.
Almonte finally makes contact there and just hits it right at the first baseman. I mean, what a play. Have to tip your hat to him at that point. But Almonte now seeing a little bit more pitches, knows what he can hit for his next time up to the plate.
Now here's Darrell Lee. Scored twice today. Popped up in the infield. All the blue jerseys converge around the mound. It'll be the third baseman, Gorostola, to watch it into the glove, and there's 2 away. He was hit by a pitch in the first, scored on the RBI single by Rodriguez. Then he doubled and came in on the RBI triple by Poyeto, but he is out there. And if you're the Wildcats, this is what you do not want. A really quick inning here. And keep Dempsey in the game. Because the way you're going to win this game is you're going to have to outslug FGCU, and the best way you're going to do that is getting to the bullpen. First pitch breaking ball, low, ball 1 to Jeter Poyeto. Walked in the first, was stranded on third, then tripled to the left center field power alley in the third. Scoring Darrell Lee eventually came around to score on the Lucena single. Watches 1 away, 2-0. The 2-0. Tap back to the screen on a high fastball. Wildcats need to start learning to lay off that high fastball because they have been destroyed by it. Both tonight and historically in the last couple of seasons. 2-1. Swing and tip foul for strike 2. The 2-2 from Dempsey to Poyeto. Inside, Poyeto leans out of the way and takes a ball. And the count runs full. 7 strikeouts, 3 walks so far for Dempsey. He's also hit 2 batters. That one lined into center field, well hit, but straight at Lasher, who doesn't even have to move to end the inning. For the first time in the game, the Cats go 1-2-3. We go to the 5th. It's 6-4, Florida Gulf Coast here on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV. We go to the top of the 5th. Florida Gulf Coast leads Bethune-Cookman 6-4. The Eagles have done the damage with the long ball. 5 of their 6 runs off 2 two-run blasts by John Embry and a solo shot by Jarrett Nelson. Wilfred Gonzalez, the shortstop, will lead off the 5th. Harborstring Abreu will throw pitch number 82 here tonight, as he bounces that one to the plate. Almost hit the grass in front of the dirt at the plate. 1-0. This is Abreu's longest outing of the season by pitch count. Had 80 even in 6 innings against Yale. Swing and a miss and a fastball down low, 1-1. Other than that, His first 2 appearances were abbreviated, threw 62 pitches in 4 innings against Bradley before being taken out with some hamstring tightness as he misses down and away with the fastball. Then against Delaware State, only threw 6 pitches before that game was delayed due to rain. Didn't come back on Saturday to pitch the resumption of that game. Ground ball, foul outside of third. Andres Barroso is warming up in the bullpen down the third base side for Bethune-Cookman. I would expect this to be the final inning for Harvey Abreu if he gets through it cleanly. If not, he might not survive the 5th. Upstairs, and it's 3-2. Count runs full. You see that command starting to waver as the arm gets tired for Abreu here as he approaches 90 pitches. Line drive, base hit, right field. Gonzalez sat on the off speed and drove it the other way. And a leadoff man on for Florida Gulf Coast. And now here's Hessemeyer. Hessemeyer flew out to center in the second, reached on an error by the third baseman Michael Lucena in the third, as he's got Gonzalez on first with nobody out. Wild threw to first. Rodriguez had to come off the bag to recover it. With the slow start to the season by the Stetson Hatters, FGCU looks in line to be the favorite going into conference play to win their 3rd ASUN championship. They've won 6 regular seasons and 2 tournaments and made 3 appearances in the NCAA tournament all time. Throw back to first. The last Bethune-Cookman win over Florida Gulf Coast in this ballpark was before COVID, the 1st of March, 2020. Check swing, he went around. As it's 3-1 on Hessemeyer. Wildcats in the dugout trying to get behind their Friday night ace. 3-1. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. 12-6 curve dropped away from Hessemeyer's bat. The count runs full. Abreu from the stretch. Swing and a miss. Ball in the dirt. That'll be strike 3.
That's why we really haven't seen conversations between him and his pitching coach, Coach Sanchez, or we haven't seen Johnny Hernandez go out there and try to make a change yet because Abreu's still working. He's still getting batters out, trusting his defense when he does throw those strikes, allowing FGCU to hit. Obviously, doesn't want a home run, but doing what he does allows this team to continue to get outs and give them a little bit more time.
93 pitches now for Abreu. First pitch called a strike, low and away to Cole Lasher, who is 0 for 2. Flew out to center and grounded out back to the pitcher in the second and third respectively, as Gonzalez on first after a leadoff single with 1 away. Breaking ball, got a piece of it. Abreu has leaned on that 12-6 curve late in this outing as the velocities dropped down as his arm has gotten tired. Lasher climbs back into the box on an 0-2 count. Fastball away, didn't get the chase, and it's 1-2. Wildcats predicted to finish first in the SWAC and repeat as champions. Florida A&M right behind them, Alabama State third. As those were the top 3 teams in the tournament last year. I would even argue that Alabama State was the second best team in the SWAC behind Bethune-Cookman last year. The Wildcats got them in the semifinals. Here's the 2-2. Check swing down low, did not go, and the count runs full for the second straight batter. Abreu's payoff pitch. Ground ball towards short. Almonte can't catch up to it, and there's 2 on with 1 out. And that'll be the end for Harvey Abreu as out trots Coach Hernandez. Abreu responsible for the 2 runners on. Throws 99 pitches, gives up 6 runs on 9 hits, 3 home runs. Strikes out 5, walks 2, hits 1. And that's the end for Harvey Abreu. His ERA is going to suffer a lot tonight, but again, he's playing one of the better offensive teams he'll see all season.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, he did what he could. These FGCU hitters very good at seeing the ball, very disciplined at the plate. He might be disappointed with his outing, obviously giving up 6 runs, 9 hits, but he did what he was supposed to do. He threw strikes, and this FGCU team very good at seeing the ball and smashing it, and we'd like to see what Barroso does here on the mound today.
It will be Andres Barroso to replace him. The junior out of Key West, Florida, transferred from Indian River State College. This will be the 5th appearance of the season for Barroso. He's sporting an ERA of 5 even. 9 innings pitched, he's allowed 6 runs on 8 hits, 5 earned. Striking out 9 and walking 5. He's allowed 2 doubles, no triples, no homers. Thrown 1 pile pitch and hit 3 batters. And his ERA really suffered his last outing against Delaware State, where he went 3 1/3. Gave up 2 runs on 4 hits. Walked 1, struck out 1. That was in the 14-8 win for the Wildcats that got a little wild the first of the doubleheader on Sunday.
Really a 3-pitch guy for the Wildcats. You see his release point a little bit lower and kind of a sidearm angle for Barroso out there, so a different look from Abreu in these first 4.5 innings.
Yep. The Clay Cats are back at Sutherland Park for softball season. Come catch Bethune-Cookman softball Friday, March 13th, as they host Alabama State in their home opener in the conference. Admission is free. Can't make it to the park? We'll be live on youtube.com/CatEye Network. Shout out softball. They won their conference opener at Alabama A&M earlier today, and they were winning the second game before that game was delayed due to darkness. No lights on the field up in Huntsville.
I've never heard of a game being delayed for darkness, but you know what? You learn something new every day, right?
So the Wildcats in line to take that first conference series. They'll finish that up tomorrow. 2 on, 1 out after 2 singles and a strikeout forced the pitching change. Here's Jarrett Nelson, who had the second of the 3 FGCU home runs. Ball in the dirt from Barroso, runners hold. We're about to get ourselves a feast of hoops action coming up next week as Wildcat men's and women's basketball travels to Atlanta for the SWAC tournament. Line drive, left field, that'll drop. Trying to score from second is Gonzalez. He's in there standing up. The ball gets away. Throw to third and out. Delayed call from Brian McCraney. But the Wildcats get a little bit of a boon. That's a bit of overeager base running from Cole Lasher. He's out at third. But Gonzalez scores from second, and it is 7-4. FGCU on the RBI by Nelson. So Nelson now has 2 RBI on his homer and RBI single. Oh, he actually picked up a double. Went over to second there. So now 2 outs and a runner on second for Brandon Gonzalez. He's over 2 with 2 Ks. As FGCU has taken a 7-4 lead. Fastball in on the hands, fouled away. Florida Gulf Coast has done a really great job at staying in these counts. One of the reasons that Abreu threw 99 pitches in 4 1/3 is a lot of his counts went deep. Full counts, lots of foul balls. Lots of 8, 9, 10 pitch ABs, really battling up there. That'll stretch any pitching staff. That's something the Wildcats really haven't done outside of the 3rd inning. Barroso's 1-1 to Gonzalez. Outside, 2-1. After starting the season with 8 wins in a row, Florida Gulf Coast has lost 3 of their last 5, including a midweek loss on Wednesday at UCF in Orlando. The 3-1 is hammered to right, but that'll stay in the yard. On the move is Rodriguez, who snags it underhand for out number 3. A run on 3 hits and 1 left. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. The lead is now 3 for Florida Gulf Coast, 7-4 here on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV. Evan Dempsey, the junior from Tampa, remains on the hill as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Florida Gulf Coast scratches across another run. They lead 7-4 as Michael Lucena will start the batting for the Wildcats here in the 5th. Wildcats went 1-2-3 in the 4th. Their second time going 1-2-3 in the game. They also went 1-2-3 in the 3rd. And those 2 innings have allowed Dempsey to stay in and allow his offense to pick up the lead. First pitch, a fastball strike on the outside corner at the knees. Michael Lucena is 1 for 2, struck out in the first, reached on an infield single in the third that scored Poyetto from third. He eventually came around to score on the Jose Fernandez single. He was the third of the 3 runs that the Wildcats scored in the third. At that time, they had a 4-3 lead. The 4 straight over the last 2 innings from FGCU has given them a 7-4 advantage. Off the end of the bat, high fly ball down the first base line, headed towards the bullpen. That will drop in foul territory. And Lucena will have to retreat to the batter's box. Dempsey played in the Tampa area at Newsom High School. His senior year of high school at .427 and at a 1.45 ERA, was all-county first team at the plate and on the mound. And his 0-2 pitch is upstairs. Off the end of the bat, high pop, shallow right. Comer fields it cleanly for out number 1. Wildcat basketball is headed to the SWAC tournament next week. Women are the 11 seed. They'll play Texas Southern in the first play-in game on Monday at 11 a.m. The men are the number 1 seed. They won't play till 2 p.m. on Wednesday against either Texas Southern or the winner of the 11-10 game, who I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll look it up in a second. First pitch inside for a ball on Jorge Rodriguez, and an RBI single in the first down the third baseline, then struck out in the third. He watches one down and away, ball 2. Tipped into the glove for a strike, and it's 2-1 on Rodriguez. Rodriguez fouls it away, and it's 2-2. So the side of the bracket that BCU men is on, they're the number 1 seed. The number 8 is Prairie View, not Texas Southern, my apologies. And they'll play the winner of Alabama State, Alcorn State in the 10-11 game. So they'll play one of those 3 teams on Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Swing and a miss. Another high fastball missed by the Wildcats. Strikeout number 8 on the night for Dempsey. And there's 2 down, and here's Jose Fernandez. Struck out in the first, had an RBI single to left in the third. Dempsey looking to retire his 7th straight Wildcat, as he's really hit his groove since the 3rd inning. Fouled straight back.
Dempsey today has just grown into this game. In these 5 innings, he's had 8 strikeouts and only 5 hits for this Wildcat team, who was on a hot streak in the beginning part of this game, but has kind of died out recently.
Ground ball to third. Diving stop behind the bag by Gorostola. Froze from his backside, and it's not in time. Great play by Gorostola, but Fernandez is on with an infield single.
That's a pro-type play over there at third base, because he threw that ball from his knees, and it had the trajectory and power to get there. Jose Fernandez doing a fantastic job of just beating that ball out.
As the Wildcats women's team is the 11 seed. They'll play Texas Southern 11 a.m. on Monday. The Texas Southern team they beat in the regular season, one of only 4 wins for the Cats in the regular season. The regular season records for Wildcats men's and women's basketball were inverts of each other. The Wildcat women are 4-14, the Wildcat men 14-4. After both lost their season finales at Florida A&M last night. Fastball down low to Mikey Rodriguez. He's 0 for 1 with a walk, Rodriguez. Flew out to center in the second, then walked in the third. But if the Wildcat women win that first game, they'll play Florida A&M again in the second round, as the Rattlers are the number 8 seed. Fastball down and away, called a strike. And it's 2-1. Rodriguez got hit on the ankle. You can see the frustration from Dempsey as he walks off the mound. He knew that one got away from him pretty badly. His second hit batter of the game. And the Wildcats have 2 on with 2 out. Here's Michael Rodriguez. Sergio Rivera. Chance for Rivera to do some damage here and try and get the Wildcats back on the trail here in this game. Rivera's best moment of the season still the opening night walk-off single. Could potentially tie the game with 1 swing here, but he's not really a home run type of guy. Two outs in the 5th, Wildcats trail 7-4. Have 2 2-out base runners, a single by Fernandez and a hit by pitch to Rodriguez, and that's drilled into left field, but a leaping catch by Gonzalez prevents it from going over his head and ends the inning. No runs a hit and 2 left as the Wildcats go quietly in the 5th. We go to the 6th inning, 7-4, FGCU here on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV. Andres Barroso will start his first inning of work, or first full inning of work here in the 6th, as he'll try to keep the Wildcat deficit to just 3. 7-4 Florida Gulf Coast as we hit the 6th inning here in Daytona Beach. First of a 3-game weekend series, the final non-conference weekend series for both of these schools. Barroso, after he came in the last inning, allowed the RBI double. Not charged to him, charged to Abreu. Evan Dempsey grounds that one to the first base side and through the gap.
just finds a way to really get on base, right? He's been walked, and now he drills that one through the gap of second and shortstop, and just continue to show all these scouts that are sitting right in front of us why he would be a valuable asset to any one of their teams.
John Embry is 2 for 3 with 2 two-run home runs. And once again, for the third straight time, he bats with Dempsey on first. With the bases empty, I might even consider putting him on, but you don't want to give 2 on nobody out to FGCU. The bullpen has finally started to move for Florida Gulf Coast. They've got Ashton Poco warming up down the right field line. Down and in from Barroso. 2 balls, no strikes on Embry. As he very well should be, Barroso is being very cautious with a man who's responsible for 4 of the 7 runs for Gulf Coast tonight. That time a fastball at the knees for a strike. Ground ball up the middle. Fielded, the flip to second for 1, back to first, double play. As much as we've maligned the defense of the middle infield, that one was clean as a whistle, and there's 2 outs.
Well, that's exactly what the Wildcats need, especially with those 2 leadoff guys for FGCU who have been so instructive in those runs that they have gotten across the board today. To get both of them out on base paths is huge.
Now here's Javier Gorostola. Singled in the first, reached on an error and scored in the third, and flew out to center in the fourth in his 3 ABs, Gorostola. Barroso over-rotates on that fastball, misses it low and away. FGCU does not return to Volusia County until May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, as they'll play Stetson down the way into land. Their 3rd to last conference series of the season. The A-Sun has the same conference schedule that the SWAC had 2 years ago, in which the conferences do not play each other in the regular season. That one outside 3 balls, no strikes. But instead will play each team in their division home and away in the regular season. They won't see the other division at all until the playoffs. And I think the SWAC made a very good decision when they went away from that schedule starting last year. That one caught the inside corner. Late call by Sapp behind the plate. It's 3-1. Where do you stand on that? Do you like seeing half the teams in your conference twice? You don't want to see everybody once?
I think it's important to see everybody once, just because that's the nature of the conference.
High fly ball, left field. That one's going to leave the yard again. The 4th home run of the game for FGCU. Gorostola makes it 8-4 with a solo shot to left.
What a game he's having. He made an impressive play over there at third base, and then comes up huge here for his team, just adding a little bit of insult to injury for the Wildcats right now.
Now batting the left fielder, number 26, Jeremy Comer.
4 home runs matches the game high that they had against Stonehill on the 22nd of February. Also hit 4 home runs in that game. First pitch down and away to Jeremy Comer. That was the 3rd game of the 3-game series against the Stonehill Skyhawks. The Eagles won it 14-7. We're no stranger to Stonehill in Daytona Beach. They were the first team to face the Wildcats last year in a 3-game series. High drive, right field and deep. That one's going to remain in the yard. Michael Rodriguez puts it away for out number 3. A run on the home run by Goristola, and it's a 4-run lead for FGCU, 8-4 as we go to the bottom of the 6th here on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV. Both teams make changes as we go to the 6th. Florida Gulf Coast 8, Bethune-Cookman 4. Ruben Zawani will pitch hit for Bethune-Cookman. And he will face the new Florida Gulf Coast pitcher, John Abreu, the freshman from Wellington, Florida, making his 3rd collegiate appearance. Lefty to righty. Pitch is a fastball low. Zawani batting .200 in 10 at-bats to start the year. Fastball up and away. 2-0. 3 runs on 2 hits, 2 doubles, 2 RBI for Zawani. As it's a freshman-on-freshman matchup here. Abreu misses low and away. And it's 3 balls and no strikes, and already the infield for FGCU going to come in and try and settle down their freshman pitcher. He has an ERA on the season of 27, but just an inning and a third pitched. Through a third of an inning against North Dakota State on opening night. Gave up 4 runs on 3 hits, all earned, walked 2, struck out 1. And then he went a full inning against Indiana State. And went clean through an inning on 8 pitches, striking out 1 there. That North Dakota State game was certifiably insane. 19-18 in 11 innings. As 2 of the first 3 games of the season for FGCU in that NDSU series went to extras. The first one was 2-1. The second one was 19-18. That's what I love about baseball.
How do you even keep like your scorebook with that many runs in a game?
Well, I had a 30 runner last year, so you just a lot of scratching things out and adding extra innings and trying to keep sane.
Yeah, right.
And it looks like there may be a little bit of an injury concern for John Abreu, as hopefully he is okay. But I think he's done, as he's no longer out there standing on the mound. And this is either the quickest hook of all time after only 3 pitches, or he's struggling with some sort of injury and warming up very quickly in the bullpen down the first base line is Logan Eisenbart, the transfer from Division III Wisconsin Whitewater.
Well, usually when there's a quick change like that, this definitely has something to do with injury because nobody really is taken out that quickly when no damage was even done. So FGCU trying to scramble here to get their pitcher warmed up. Don't want to hurt him in the process of putting him in the game too early, but also want to get this game underway as well. The umpires out there trying to facilitate that along.
Yep. Logan Eisenbart is a senior from Barrington, Illinois, previously at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. He will make his fourth appearance of the season. 4 full innings pitched for him, 11.25 his ERA. He's allowed 6 runs on 9 hits, 5 earned, struck out 2, walked nobody. Has allowed 4 doubles, no triples, a home run. Had the ignominy of a infinity ERA in his first appearance against Stonehill, where he gave up a run on 3 hits, didn't record an out. But after that, went 2 1/3 against Indiana State, gave up 2 runs on 3 hits, didn't strike out anybody, didn't walk anybody. Then his last appearance was against Boston College on the 28th of February. An inning and 2/3 there, 3 runs on 3 hits, all earned, struck out 2. Allowed 2 doubles as we continue to await Logan Eisenbarth warming up in the bullpen down the right field line after John Abreu threw 3 pitches and was taken out of the game, probably due to an injury concern. Here comes Eisenbarth walking onto the field. He'll have a tough task ahead of him because Ruben Zueni is ahead in the count, 3 balls, no strikes. Get ready for March Madness. The SWAC basketball tournament begins on March 9th, and you don't want to miss your chance to catch Bethune-Cookman basketball on the hunt for a maiden SWAC title. All the action goes down at the Gateway Center Arena in Atlanta, featuring both Bethune-Cookman men's and women's basketball and a special appearance from the Marching Wildcats and Wildcat cheerleaders. Get your tickets today at SWAC.org, or if you can't make it, the games will be live on ESPN+, or we'll have all the coverage for you on the radio at bcuathletics.com/radio, youtube.com/CatEye Network, or 1380 WELE Daytona Beach. Many ways to tune in as Wildcat basketball plays at the conference tournament next week. Nike is the official outfitter of the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Gear up on the newest BCU Nike gear at nike.com/Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. I spent all this time talking about Logan Eisenbarth, and I was incorrect. It's not 27 Eisenbarth, it's 37, the freshman Reed Beimiller, who will be pitching. So disregard my last sort of 5 minutes of yapping, because none of it matters. We may see Eisenbarth later in this series, but right now it's Reed Beimiller. Beimiller making his 3rd appearance of the season. Has not given up a run in 2 appearances, 1 2/3 innings pitched. Walked 2, struck out 1, has only faced 7 batters. Got 3 straight outs against Stonehill on the 22nd, then faced 4 batters and got 3 outs against Boston College on the 27th. He's only thrown 32 pitches so far this season, Reed Beimiller. He's a freshman from Tampa out of powerhouse Tampa Jesuit High School. They are a powerhouse in everything. Football, baseball, their boys soccer team was at the FHSAA state finals last week. As he will have to come in and face Ruben Zawani, who is currently on a 3-0 count. Difficult in prospect here for Beimiller, as he's got to come up straight out of the bullpen. But an interesting choice for head coach Dave Tollett to go from freshman Abreu to freshman again in Beimiller. Here's the 3-0 pitch, his first offering to Zawani. There's a strike, and it's 3-1. Beimiller deals a 3-1. Caught the outside corner, 3-2. Oh, Zawani threw his bat away, thought that was ball 4. And now you got to be real careful because umpires are likely to ring you up after you do something like that. That time he lost him outside ball 4.
Couldn't call that one a strike.
Nope. Although there was a Mississippi Valley and New Orleans game a couple years ago where it was already decided. It was like 8-10 nothing or whatever. But it was the 9th inning, and MVSU had a couple guys on base, and the batter who was up thought he walked on ball 4, ended up being called a strike. He, jumped in the air, threw his bat away, and then the home plate umpire rung him up on a pitch that was, maybe in the next county.
Oh, gosh.
And that was the end of the game. The funny part about that story is that umpiring crew, the whole crew was suspended.
Why? Because of that
Yeah,
call?
because the first pitch, down and away to Eric Almonte. But that crew was supposed to do the next Wildcat Weekend Series here in Daytona Beach.
They had to find another
And they had to
crew.
find a different crew.
Wow. Wildcats sure liked that.
Up and out as a pitch gets away from Beimiller. Eric Almonte is 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts looking, and a beautiful play at first by Nelson to rob him of extra bases on a line drive. Ruben Zawani on first, nobody out after he took a leadoff walk. Beimiller deals, tipped into the glove. And the count is 2-2. Wildcats down 8-4 here in the bottom of the 6th. Looking to do some damage to the Florida Gulf Coast bullpen. Ground ball to first. Off the glove of Nelson on a dive. Recovering to make the play is Hessemeyer. But it goes in as a sack, essentially, moving Zawani to second. That's technically 3-4-1 on the putout.
And a great job by the pitcher to get over and cover the bag after it came off the first baseman's hand and continue out the play.
And that's technically Nelson robbing Almonte again with a leaping, diving play.
Almonte walked off the field a little bit gingerly. We'll monitor that as the game goes on.
Here's D. Lee. Watches the breaking ball strike outside corner. Darrell Lee, 1 for 2, hit by pitch, a double, 2 runs scored. Also popped up on the infield in the 4th, his last time up. He's got Zawani on second with 1 away. Lee pops it up, foul territory, third base side. Coach Hernandez gets out of the way, and crashing into the dugout wall to make the catch is Gorostola. Another great defensive play, and there's 2 outs.
Gorostola did like a 1-2 hop to get that ball. He caught it on one leg, and then I don't think he necessarily knew exactly where the wall was and had to kind of fall into it to catch himself there. But again, a great play by the third baseman.
Evan Dempsey started for Florida Gulf Coast, went 5 full innings, gave up 4 runs on 6 hits on 95 pitches. All 4 earned, walked 3, struck out 8, hit 2 with pitches. Now with 2 away, there's a first pitch called strike outside to Jeter Poyeto. Walked in the first, had an RBI triple in the third, then flew out to center in the fourth. That one called a strike on the outside corner and low again, and Poyeto's down 0-2. Poyeto tough to take down on strikes, only 5 Ks so far this year, as he's gonna go and chat with Derek Cartaya, the hitting coach. Nike is the official outfitter of the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. You can gear up on the newest BCU Nike gear at nike.com/Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Ruben Zueni on second after a walk and a grounder. And Darrell Lee popped out in foul territory, and Poyeto's now down 0-2 as the Wildcats in danger of going quietly for the 3rd straight inning. Oh-2 by Miller, upstairs, pops out of the glove of Embry, and Ruben Zueni will trot over to third. Now he's 90 feet away, could come home on a Poyeto single. Poyeto takes a breath, climbs back into the right-handed batter's box. Reed by Miller. Trying to keep the Wildcats off the board in the 6th and maintain this 4-run lead for the Eagles. Outside on a breaking ball, 2-2. Zueni's got to be ready. If another ball gets to the backstop, he's got to be ready to charge home. Breaking ball hit towards the first base side. That's a fair ball off the diving glove of Nelson and into foul territory down the first base side. Scoring is Zueni. Poyeto's going to be on his horse, trying to get to third. He will be there with a triple. Jeter Poyeto has 2 triples in the game, and the Wildcats have their first run since the 3rd inning.
He went from no triples to 2 in this game, and a well-hit ball that just trickled down into the corner of death over there, and if that ball trickles all the way down there, you know it's going to be extra bases for the Wildcats, and what a hit for Jeter Poyeto to not only score that run, but get himself right back into scoring position.
Again, I gotta praise Nelson, though. He made contact with that ball that was scorched to his non-glove side.
The defense for FGCU has played very well so far in this game.
Now with a chance to cut the deficit even further, here's Michael Lucena. Already has an RBI single today, Lucena. He pops one up, foul territory, first base side, that'll get out of play. He had an RBI single to the shortstop in the 3rd. Came around to score by walking in later in that inning. He's behind on the count 0-1 to Reed Bymiller, who has given up his first run of the season. Although the run is technically not charged to him, it's charged to John Abreu because he put, no, that's wrong, because he did technically walk him because Abreu only threw the first 3 pitches. He does give up his first run of the season. Trying not to give up another one. The 1-1, breaking ball outside. Slider started away and finished even further away. We've got double barrel action in the FGCU bullpen as Bymiller probably will only get this 1 inning. Fouled away as Lucena barely caught up to that fastball. But the man I thought was going to come in earlier, Logan Eisenbarth, is actually warming up now. Swinging a high drive, right center field, moving over his left shoulder, he makes the play, and that'll end the inning. 1 run, 1 hit, and 1 left. And we go to the 7th inning of play. The Wildcats down 3, 8-5 here on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV. Wildcats make a pitching change as we go to the 7th. Ethan Diaz makes only his 2nd appearance of the season. The junior from Lake Mineola, Florida, the transfer from the University of Arkansas at Rich Mountain, had 1 inning of play on opening night against Bradley. Gave up a run on 2 hits. That was the 2nd game of the Bradley series. Gave up a run on 2 hits. Struck out 1, didn't walk anybody. And he will face Wilfred Gonzalez first. His first pitch is a curveball strike. Gonzalez, fielder's choice in the 1st, lined into a double play in the 3rd, then singled to right in the 5th, came around to score on the Jarrett Nelson double. Last year at UA Rich Mountain, Ethan Diaz, 13 appearances, all starts, as that one's popped sky high to shallow right center. Rodriguez makes the play. And there's 1 down. 13 appearances, all starts for Diaz last year. Was 4-7 with a 5.22 ERA, 58 strikeouts, 21 walks with 2 complete games. With 8.9 strikeouts per 9 innings, he'll face Caden Hessemeyer now. Hessemeyer, 0 for 2, reached on an error in the 3rd. Other than that, flew out to center and struck out. Was the final strikeout victim for Harvey Abreu. Diaz rifles a strike in there, and it's 1-1. We talked a little bit earlier, Jade, about the men's basketball tournament coming up next week, and Wildcats well positioned to do some damage, right? Their side of the bracket is 2 teams they've beat this year Two teams they swept this year in Alabama State and Prairie View, and then one team that they split with Alcorn State. The other teams on their side of the bracket, they've all beaten already, Texas Southern and Alabama A&M.
Conference championship and tournament time, you're in that season 3, right? You have the non-conference schedule, season 1, conference season 2, and then that postseason, season 3, and that's really where anything can happen, and everything that happens in the regular season and conference play, it doesn't matter when it comes to that tournament time. It is anyone's opportunity to claim that title.
Walk issued by Diaz to Hessemeyer, 1-on-1 out for FGCU.
And I think the Wildcats are aware of that. I think they know that they have a target on their backs, regular season champions, picked #1 in the SWAC in the preseason poll a long time ago at this point, and so they know they have that target, but they use that pressure as purpose and drives them forward.
How do you think that they'll handle the mental side after dropping a tough one to Florida A&M to end the regular season last night? Fastball, called strike up and in of the letters.
I think it's going to be interesting. I think there's so much time in between that game last night and then their game next Wednesday. So almost a full week, you could say, to reset, recharge, and then fix those things that they need to be able to be ready to go for that first conference tournament game.
Breaking ball strike in on the hands. 0-2 to Cole Lasher, who is 1 for 3. Flew out to center in the second, grounded out to the pitcher in the third, singled in the fifth. Breaking ball in the dirt. Fernandez can't find it. He throws down to second, way late. And Hessemeyer goes to second base. Runner in scoring position now with 1 out. The count 1-2 on Lasher. That win last night for Florida A&M was big because it actually gave them the #2 seed.
Right.
So we won't see them again until potentially the finals, but I think their side of the bracket is much tougher because they've got Jackson State, Mississippi Valley, Grambling, Southern, and Pine Bluff on their side. Breaking ball fouled away, and it remains 1-2. I mean, really, except for Mississippi Valley, you could see any 5 of those 6 teams come out of that side of the bracket. It's a wild west over there.
And SWAC has been so competitive all season this year, and it's going to be really exciting as these games go one after the other this coming week.
Diaz deals. Tip back to the screen on a fastball. Belt high. Of course, the women's #1 seed is Alabama A&M. They have not lost a game since the 1st of January.
Their New Year's resolution, win.
Was win and don't stop. Ground ball to third. They'll go to first, and a stretch by Rodriguez gets the out. They hold the runner on second, 2 away. Although in the women's bracket, I think Alabama A&M got the tougher side of the bracket with Southern and Jackson State on their side. The other side is Alcorn, Grambling, and Alabama State. The Wildcat women are the 11 seed. They'll play Texas Southern at 11 a.m. on Monday in the first game of the tournament. Here's Jarrett Nelson, has one of the home runs, one of the 4 home runs for FGCU tonight. Hit one down the third base line in the 4th inning. Watches a fastball up and in for ball 1. That, at the time, tied the game at 4. Then John Embry had a 2-run homer later in the 4th to give FGCU a lead that they have not relinquished since. They currently lead 8-5. Diaz winds and fires. Breaking ball misses inside. 2-0. That one fouled right on top of home plate. We'll do the 2-1. How important, Jade, is this series for the Wildcats right before conference play to get a really tough 3-game series in? I mean, of course, last week you walked all over Delaware State. You're riding high. You've won 2 of 3 every weekend so far.
And it's important. Number one, obviously confidence. You want your team to feel good going into conference play, and also national eyes. Not only the scouts that are here looking at the players, but their eyes on this game and this team. And FGCU, who's such a powerhouse in the beginning of this season, you know, for the Wildcats to take 2 of 3 or even sweep them would be huge. And just to get them looks into that national rankings and eyes on them, you know, head coach Johnny Hernandez wants to be a 40-win team this year, and that would only help.
Well, they're 9-4 right now. A lot better than the start to last year's season, when they were 1-9 after 10 games. Turn that around. Breaking ball low, walk to Nelson, and here's the 9-hole hitter, Brandon Gonzalez, who is 0 for 3. 2 strikeouts and a fly out to right.
Now batting for the Eagles, the left fielder, number 20, Brandon Gonzalez.
Hessemeyer on second, Nelson on first after both were walked by Ethan Diaz. Gonzalez flying out to right, Lasher grounded out to third, so there's 2 away in the inning. Wildcats trying to keep the deficit at just 3 here as we start the back third of this contest. Low and in, ball 1. And we've got Wildcat action in the bullpen. I never expected Ethan Diaz to get more than 1 inning or so here. It would be big for his confidence if he can close out this inning without giving up a run. Someone who's waited a long time to make another appearance. Been almost 3 weeks since he's seen the mound in a competitive game. But he trails Brandon Gonzalez 3-0. And if this gets away, I would expect Coach Hernandez to make a move.
There was a hat twirl down to the bullpen, so if I'm good at reading hat twirls, I think that means get ready soon.
There's a strike, and it's 3-1. Gabriel Moorer, the West Florida transfer, is warming up. Ball 4, 3 straight walks, loads the bases for FGCU. And do you leave Diaz in to face Evan Dempsey? Is the big question.
I think that's going to be answered, and it's going to be no.
This is a big spot, potentially game-deciding spot. Bases loaded. Diaz comes in, walks 3, gets 2 outs. The batter is the preseason player of the year in the A's son, Evan Dempsey, who is 1 for 2 with a walk, a hit by pitch, and 2 runs scored. And a massive spot for the graduate transfer Gabriel Moorer, who has played at the Division II level for 4 years, 2 years at East Georgia State and 2 years at West Florida. He will make his 3rd appearance of the season. Went 1 inning against FIU in that 12-5 loss. Struck out 2 in 1 inning of work, didn't allow a run. And then went 2/3 of an inning against USF in a game the Wildcats won 4-3, and might have won more comfortably if Moore didn't give up 2 runs on 3 hits. Also had 1 strikeout in that game. Last year for the Argonauts of West Florida, had a 3.27 ERA, 8 strikeouts, 8 walks, and a 2.44 batting average against, and he blazes his first warm-up pitch to the backstop over the head of Jose Fernandez.
Gabe Moore, a 3-pitch mix guy, like you mentioned. We haven't seen him a ton this season, and you know, with bullpens kind of being a little bit depleted with the Miami game and the Delaware State's 4-game series, you're plugging different pitchers in different spots, and he's going to get a chance here to, you know, get innings in, see batters, and just comes in a pretty unfortunate spot for the Wildcats. However, they do have 2 outs, so anything that Moore wants to get right now is infield fly.
Yep. You
Or
got
something easy on the ground for his defense to
and you
pick
got to
up.
challenge Dempsey here. You can't pitch around and potentially walk in a run. Wildcats trailing 8-5, looking to stay in touching distance here in the 7th. It is fully a bullpen game now, as this is the 4th pitcher of the day for the Wildcats and the 2nd one in this inning. And maybe the toughest task you could possibly face coming in out of the bullpen. Bases loaded, the opponent's best player up to bat. This game teetering on the edge of getting away from you.
This is where the competitors come alive right here. Moore needs to attack the strike zone.
The lefty Moorer against the lefty Dempsey. Here we go.
Kid, have a little fun. Come on, kid.
Both batter and pitcher are going to get pitch clock warnings, as neither one of them are ready fast enough for home plate umpire Jimmy Sapp's liking. We've already seen a couple pitch clock violations tonight. First pitch from Moore. Dempsey swings away and fouls off the breaking ball into the grandstands on the third base side. Dempsey standing well back in the box. His back left foot right on the back line. Fastball away, ball 1. Evan Dempsey, the 6'2" junior, now in his 3rd season in Fort Myers. Bases loaded, 2 down. Here's the pitch from Moorer. Check swing. He went around, and there's 2 strikes on Dempsey. Time called by Dempsey. He steps out of the box, adjusts his batting gloves, and now we'll walk back in. Coach Hernandez is arguing that that should be a pitch clock violation, even though the home plate umpire, Jimmy Sapp, offered him time. The count is 1-2. 2 outs, bases loaded with nowhere to go. Breaking ball, called a ball. 2-2.
That was a good pitch by Moore. And the frame by Fernandez behind the plate, it felt like warranted that a strike.
Fernandez turns around and asks the umpire, where did that miss? Moore's got to do it again. Tap, foul, and we'll do the 2-2 once again on a breaking ball. Hessmeyer on third, Nelson on second, Gonzalez on first. After 3 straight walks by Ethan Diaz, can Moore get the Wildcats out of the jam? Ball low, 3-2. Full count. Bases loaded. Fouled away. And we'll do the 3-2 again. The highest tension moment so far yet tonight here at Jackie Robinson.
You can feel it in the ballpark. These two going at it, battling right here.
See one here, kids. See it.
For the second time, the 3-2. More pop fly just behind the infield to the third base side. 3 Wildcats converge, and Eric Almonte gets the Wildcats out of the jam. No runs, no hits, 3 left as the Wildcats survive and go to the bottom of the 7th, down 8-5. Stretch time in Daytona Beach here on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV. The Wildcats escape a bases-loaded jam in the top of the 7th, and we go to the bottom of the inning with Reed Beimiller technically starting his first full inning on the mound for FGCU, even though he faced all 4 Wildcat hitters in the previous inning.
Moving from left field to right field, number 26, Jeremy Comer. Remaining in the game and playing left field, number 11, Nathan Gagnon.
Jorge Rodriguez leads off the 7th for Bethune-Cookman. Watch the fastball outside for ball 1. Some defensive changes for FGCU.
Now batting the first baseman, number 33, Jorge Rodriguez.
Beimiller challenges Rodriguez with a fastball in on the hands, fouled straight back. Wildcats looking for their 10th win of the year. FGCU looking for win number 11. That one's spiked. And it's 2 balls, 1 strike on Rodriguez. Rodriguez tonight, RBI single in the first and then struck out in the 3rd and 5th, both of those against the starter Dempsey. Watches one up and in, 3 balls, 1 strike. High pop, out of play, count 3-2. And the Wildcats' ability to work walks will help them greatly in conference play when you'll see some questionable pitching, especially in the back ends of bullpens. The Wildcats have walked 66 times this season. That's before today's contest, and have only allowed 59 walks of their own. Here's the 3-2. Tipped into the glove, strike 3. First strikeout for Reed Beimiller. And the third strikeout of the night for Jorge Rodriguez.
The catcher, number 44, Jose Fernandez.
Second career strikeout for the freshman Reed Beimiller. Had one last week against Boston College. And now here's Jose Fernandez, who's 2 for 3 with 2 singles. Struck out on the first. His single in the third was an RBI single, scoring Jeter Poyero. Fastball called a strike on the outside corner. I have noticed that Sap's strike zone does extend pretty far outside to righties. Beimiller's 1-1. Foul straight back, 1-2. The two pitchers that FGCU had warming up down there in the bullpen have both sat down. So the Eagles trusting Beimiller here in the 7th. And he gets Fernandez to strike out. 2 straight Ks for Reed Beimiller. And there's 2 down, and here's Michael Rodriguez.
The right fielder, number 5, Michael Rodriguez.
Wildcats have struck out 10 times tonight. Michael Rodriguez is 0 for 1 with 2 free passes, a walk in the 3rd, and a hit by pitch in the 5th. And he got hit again on the belt. So he's out now 3 times without a hit. And the inning continues with 2 outs of the 7th, and the batter will be Sergio Rivera.
Now batting, the center fielder, number 19, Sergio Rivera.
Rivera 0 for 2 with a walk. Has an RBI, walked in Lucena in the 3rd. Other than that, struck out and lined out to left. Beimiller waves a slider outside for ball 1. 28 pitches for Reed, by far his most of the season. 4 more pitchers, and he'll have doubled his season total in this 1 appearance. As he misses upstairs with a fastball. 2-0. Both of these squads will have tough midweekers next week as they prepare for conference play. Bethune-Cookman will go to Jacksonville to take on the North Florida Ospreys, another A Sun school, as Rivera now on a 2-strike count as he fouls one back. And FGCU will get FIU down in Miami this coming Tuesday. FIU has already beaten the Wildcats this year 12-5 in this building. Rivera watches one up by the bill of his helmet. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Runner goes, Rivera on the ground to 3rd, fielded by Garastola as he skips it across in time for the 3rd out. No runs, no hits, and 1 left. We go to the 8th. Wildcats still down 3, 8-5 here on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV. Gabriel Moore remains on the hill for Bethune-Cookman as we go to the 8th. He came in, threw 8 pitches, and got out of a massive bases-loaded jam in the 7th by getting Evan Dempsey to pop out. Now, here's John Embury, who's 2 for 4 with 2 two-run home runs for the catcher. Responsible for half of Florida Gulf Coast's runs tonight with 2 long balls. Lefty to righty. Moorer comes home with the first pitch and misses it way upstairs. Looked like that was supposed to be a breaking ball that never broke. It ended up going to the backstop. John Embury now in his 2nd season at FGCU, a sophomore out of Port Charlotte, Florida, Venice High School. High fly ball down the right field line. That will trail foul into the FGCU bullpen. Last season, played 50 games starting in 41, John Embury. Hit .275. 15 runs on 28 hits, 9 doubles, a triple, 6 homers, and 23 RBI. This year hitting a cool .373 coming into today's game. That has only gone up with the 2 home runs. He rockets one to center field. That is going to be caught in a basket by Rivera for out number 1. Rivera thought that one was going over his head, had to double back and come up on it for the first down.
He's been busy this game, having to go run to his right in the gap of left center field, and nothing really directly at him, but getting his work in center field, Sergio Rivera. Here's
Javier Boristola. Has one of the 4 FGC home runs. The latest one in the 6th inning. Other than that, singled in the 1st, reached on an error and scored in the 3rd. So 2 runs scored for the 3rd baseman, Goristola. First pitch, a fastball up and away from Moorer. Dawson Turner is warming up in the bullpen for Bethune-Cookman. Fastball at the knees called strike 1. There is one Florida Gulf Coast Eagle warming up out there. It is Ashton Pokal, who seemingly has gone up and down a couple of times today. He is now officially getting warm. Big swing and a miss on the pitch to Goristola, and he is down to the count 1-2. Swing and a miss. Big K for Moorer. 2 away in the inning, and now here's Jeremy Comer, who's 2 for 4 with 2 singles.
Big K, absolutely, for the Wildcats, for Gabe Moore as well. This FGCU team has been battering the ball from the 3rd to the 6th inning, and Moore has come in and handled the pressure well.
4th strikeout of the season for Moorer, first in his appearance today. First pitch to the lefty, Comer, is fouled away into the grandstand on the 3rd base side. Comer singled to right field in the 1st and the 3rd, but was cut out of the base paths twice. Once in a fielder's choice and once in a double play. Fastball low, ball 1. Gabriel Moore threw 4 no-hitters at Fletcher High School in his high school career. He's from around the Jacksonville area. That slider goes outside. I mean, even at the high school level, throwing 1 no-hitter is impressive. Throwing 4?
Yeah.
Time called as a baseball escapes the BCU bullpen and rolls onto the field. One of the downsides of having the exposed bullpens down the lines. Moore shakes off a call from Fernandez. Now will deal from the stretch. Upstairs. And it's 3-1.
And even when all the construction's finished here at the Jack, the bullpens will remain on the field.
Better for us as broadcasters, we can see who's warming up. When we go to Rickwood Field for the tournament later on in the year, those bullpens are behind the outfield wall. Fastball down Broadway for strike 2, and the count runs full. So you don't know who's warming up until they enter the game.
Have to get the binoculars out as soon as they step on the field.
The full count delivery from Moorer to Comer is tapped into the mask of Fernandez. He gets up, he's all right. But Comer stays alive. Comer, the redshirt sophomore from Shawnee, Kansas, started his college career at Johnson County Community College in Kansas. Once again, the 3-2. Lost him, ball 4 down and away. So the issue last week was the leadoff man aboard. Now the issue, as it has been for a while now, is not closing out innings with 2 down. Just forcing your arms to be more taxed, throwing more pitches, not giving your offense momentum can kill you. Wilfred Gonzalez now with a runner on first and 2 down. First pitch, fastball strike at the belt. Gonzalez 1 for 3 with a fielder's choice in the first. Lined into a double play in the third, singled and scored in the fifth. Came in on the Cole Lasher RBI. And then flew out to right in the seventh. Fastball away. Dawson Turner waiting in the wings if Moore can't close out this inning for the Wildcats. High drive, left center field. That's going to be down in the gap if it's not over the wall. It is hopped off the wall. Trying to score all the way from first is Comer. He'll be in there standing up. RBI double for Gonzalez, and FGCU maintains their 4-run lead. It's 9-5.
And that's just FGCU doing what they're going to do. A well-driven ball. For a second, I thought that might have gone out. Wind is blowing a little bit out of this ballpark, but not enough under it to let it fly. Sergio Herrera played it very well off the wall, got it off the bounce, and just didn't have enough power to get the ball all the way in to make a play at home.
So once again, 2-out walk. 2-out walk. That's all it is. It was a 3-2 count. You get him there, then none of this happens, and now walk double. And FGCU scores again, and here's Caden Hessemeyer. First pitch strike to him. Hessemeyer is 0 for 2 with a walk and reached on an error in the third. Flew out to center in the second, reached on an error in the third. Struck out in the fifth, walked in the seventh. Was one of the 3 stranded on base last inning when Moore came into the game. Breaking ball strike, 0-2 on Hessemeyer. Wilfred Gonzalez leads off of second after his RBI double, give the Eagles a 9-5 lead. Wildcats down to their last 6 outs once they get out of this inning. In the dirt, gets away from Fernandez. That'll be a wild pitch and allows Wilfred Gonzalez to move up 90 feet to third base. And it feels like the Wildcats are saving some of their better arms for later in the week here. We haven't seen Torres even warm up. We've seen Barroso, but
Torres pitched against Miami. I don't know how much we'll see of him. Maybe later on this weekend be a better shot of that.
we haven't seen Zambrano warming up. That one punched towards second, barehanded by Poyeto, and that's going to be an infield single and an RBI, and it is 10-5. Just unlucky on that one.
Well, the ball was a dribbler right in the infield, and it was a hard angle, a good play by Poyeto to barehand it, but just a tough angle to get his body around it to throw it over to Georgie. And Georgie caught the ball, so didn't allow an extra base hit, but that run did score and was going to regardless.
2 runs with 2 outs. And there was 2 out, nobody on as well. Things that will come back to bite you in these contests. Now here's Cole Lasher as FGCU looks to continue their 2-out rally. Lasher 1 for 4. Flew out to center in the second, grounded out to first in the third, singled to left in the fifth, and grounded out to third in the seventh. Moore deals. Late strike calls, that one was up and in. As the count is 0-2 on Lasher. Lasher rockets one over Poyeto's glove into center field. The inning continues for FGCU. Now 2 on, 2 out. The batter is Jarrett Nelson, who has one of the
Now batting for FGCU.
4 FGCU home runs. He's also been on base every time. A homer, a double, and 2 walks. 2 runs scored and 2 RBI for Nelson as well. Essemeyer on second. Lasher on first. One already in the inning to make it 10-5. Breaking ball strike. This game is now looking more like FIU than Miami. Wildcats did lead this game twice. 1-0 after the first, 4-3 after the third, but since then it's been all Eagles. Pitch out, throw back to first, got him! What a throw by Jose Fernandez as Cole Lasher gets picked off, and that'll end the inning, but 2 runs on 3 hits and 1 left as it's 10-5 FGCU as we go to the bottom of the 8th here on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV. Florida Gulf Coast has extended the lead to their largest of the night. 5 runs the gap, 10-5. They're going to ride with Reed Bymiller on the mound for his 3rd inning of work. He's already doubled his total pitch count for the season tonight. Has thrown 33 pitches, allowed 1 on 1 hit, walked 1, struck out 2.
Number 28,
Ruben Zueni will lead things off for the Wildcats. His 2nd plate appearance of the night. Walked and scored his first time up back in the 6th. Line drive, foul outside of 3rd by Zueni. And in terms of raw offensive talent, I think Ruben Zueni is one of the better freshmen on this squad. Certainly has seen the most playing time of any of the freshman bats. Breaking ball called outside, and it's 1-2.
I would probably say he is the best freshman in this class, and just watching him, pure size and power, the kid is way well beyond his years, and just seeing him in BP and the power that he possesses when he makes contact with the ball, it's special.
And he strikes out. Another upstairs fastball. Wildcats can't help themselves. They chase the upstairs fastball every time. And it's a tick that teams are starting to exploit now for the 3rd year running. Eric Almonte begins the 5th time through the order for the Wildcats. He is 0 for 4. 2 strikeouts looking in 2 terrific defensive plays by Nelson at first. Swing and a miss at a fastball at his ankles, and it's 0-1. He lined out in the 4th on a leaping grab by Nelson, and then in the 6th, Nelson dove to keep a ball in the infield that was deflected to the 2nd baseman, Hessmeyer, who threw him out at first. The 1-1 from Bymiller. Ground ball to first again. That's off the bag, but it's off the wrong part of the bag. It was a foul ball. It was off the green part of the bag. Another one of those weird corner case rules with the double bag at first. And there's 2 strikes now on Almonte. Eric Almonte must be thinking, man, can I hit it somewhere other than first base?
It's a magnet for him at this point.
Behind the count, 1-2. Bymiller, looking for his 4th strikeout. Ground ball the other way. It's a diving stop by Gonzalez, but it's not going to be enough to keep Almonte off the base paths. He finally gets aboard for the first time today with a infield single. And he finally hit the ball somewhere other than the first base side.
I'm sure he's happy about it. Obviously, the leadoff man for the Wildcats wants to get on base every time, but he's seen the best of all the pitchers that FGCU has thrown, and good players find a way to get on base in moments where your team needs some runs, and Almonte does that just there.
Darrell Lee 1 for 3 with a hit by pitch, 2 runs scored. Fouls the first pitch away. He couldn't catch up to the fastball, low and away. Darrell Lee hit by pitch in the first, came around to score on the Jorge Rodriguez RBI, then doubled in the 3rd, scored on the Judah Poyeto RBI triple. Toss back to first, Almonte back there standing up. Lee, his last 2 times up in the 4th and 6th, has popped out to the 3rd baseman twice. One of those was routine. The other one was a spectacular play by Gorostola as he fouls one away, and it's 0-2. Reached over the wall of the Wildcat dugout. Lee behind in the count, 0-2. High pop again on the infield to the third base side. That one's going to drift towards the outfield and be put away by Gonzalez for the third straight pop-up in the game for Darrell Lee. Now here's Jeter Poyeto, who maybe has had the best day offensively for the Wildcats. A walk, 2 triples, an RBI, and a run scored.
And he's been so disciplined at the plate. In that walk, he saw upwards of 6 pitches on that at bat and has really stepped into the batter's box and owned it for the Wildcats tonight. He wants to do that here and start that 2-out rally that has seemed to help the Wildcats throughout this game.
First pitch, breaking ball upstairs. 4 of the Wildcat 5 runs have been scored with 1 out. That in the first, 1 of the first, 3 of the third. Then Poyeto drove in Ruben Zawani with 2 outs in the 6th. He fouls one away, and it's 1-1. I would not be surprised if Reed Beimiller, who's at 44 pitches right now, just cruises through the end of this game. He's looked very solid. 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. As make that strike 2 on Jeter Poyeto. Again, a high fastball that he can't catch up to. These 2 teams will go at it again tomorrow night, 6 p.m. first pitch. And then on Sunday at 1 p.m. Off the end of the bat and foul. This would be the first series opening loss for the Wildcats of the season. They won their first 2 games of the year, first 2 Friday games of the year, on 2 walk-offs. A single by Sergio Rivera against Bradley, then a home run by Andre Martinez against Yale. The 2-strike pitch to Poyeto. Grounded softly to short. They go to second for nothing as the ball gets away and rolls into the bullpen. Ball goes out of play, and so staying at second and third will be Poyeto and Almonte respectively. First error on the Florida Gulf Coast Eagles defense tonight. That puts 2 in scoring position for the Wildcats now. With 2 down, the batter is Michael Lucena.
It kind of looked like they were going for a double play there, but they already have 2 outs. That simple out was at first base. Just trying to do a little bit too much.
Yep. Lucena 1 for 4. RBI single and scored in the 3rd. Struck out on the 1st, flew out in the 5th and 6th. Fly ball, right center field. Comer tracking, catching, out number 3. Lucena swung at the first pitch, and he's out for his 3rd straight flyout in a row. No runs, a hit, an error, and 2 left, as the Wildcats will have their last 3 outs after the top of the 9th here on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV. To the ninth, 10-5, Florida Gulf Coast over Bethune-Cookman.
Goes the first baseman, number 30, Jarrett Nelson.
Jarrett Nelson, by virtue of being in the box when Cole Lasher was picked off at first base at the end of the 8th, will lead off the 9th. He grounds one softly toward the third base side, hard charging, and not in time on the throw from Lucena. Infield single for Jarrett Nelson. He has been on all 5 times he's been up.
Ball was rolling just slow enough that Lucena, sprinting yes to charge it to pick it up, was not going to be quick enough for the speed down the first base line.
Now batting number 11, Nathan Gagnon.
Pinch hitter here for FGCU. Brandon Gonzalez departs. This is Nathan Gagnon. Runner goes to second. There's the throw. It's a bit wild. And in with a stolen base is Jarrett Nelson. Nelson's 5th steal of the season. That leads the FGCU team. Nathan Gagnon, a senior from Quebec, Canada. Transfer from St. John's River State. Gabriel Moore is closing this one out for the Wildcats. At least the Wildcats hope he can go the distance in the 9th and they don't have to burn another pitcher.
Looks like they're trying to make that happen. Everyone that was warming up has sat back down.
Runner on second. Swinging a bunt. Bohr pops it up, and that's going to find the grass in foul territory. Moore up to 33 pitches now. Allowed 2 runs on 4 hits. 1 strikeout, 1 walk. He's ahead of Nathan Gagnon 2-1, or 1-2, excuse me. Nelson on second after a leadoff infield single and a steal. Gagnon pops it foul, and just as we say that, we've got Wildcat action in the bullpen. I believe that is Turner again. He's been warming up off and on for the better part of the last 3 innings. Ground ball to second base. 1 away as Jeter Prieto makes the play. Jarrett Nelson advances to third. He's 90 feet away with 1 out. And here's Evan Dempsey.
Now batting the designated hitter.
Maybe one of the biggest question marks of this game is Evan Dempsey popping out to shallow left with the bases loaded in the 7th. Score could have been a lot worse than 10-5 if that had found grass.
Absolutely. That's when Gabe Moore had just got into this game.
So now Moore facing the entire rotation for FGCU, starting for the 2nd time through the order. And he rockets one into right. Rodriguez makes the catch. That'll be an RBI, as scoring from third is Nelson, and it is 11-5.
And just there doing a job. Hit it far into the outfield where his runner could tag up from third. And FGCU just adding run after run here later on into this game.
2 away now. Here's John Embry. The 2 2-run home runs, the major difference in this contest. That was in the 3rd and 4th. Other than that, he's lined out to right. Grounded out to short. And flew out to center. First pitch from Moore was a strike. 2 down here in the ninth. Wildcats down by 6 now. FGCU has mashed 16 hits tonight, have doubled up the Wildcats who only have 8. There's strike 2 on a breaking ball. And the Eagles have been as advertised coming into the weekend. They hit the ball a ton. The pitching has done enough to keep the Wildcats at bay in this back half of this game. High drive, left center field, long run, and on the move, Sergio Rivera makes the nice catch over his shoulder to end the inning. No, 1 run, 1 hit, and nobody left on. 6 runs, the gap, 11-5 as we go to the Wildcat bottom of the ninth here on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV. Three outs left for Bethune-Cookman in this one. A change at second base for FGCU, Keaton Kangas.
We'll have a change here at the plate for the Wildcats as well. J.C. Chicano will step in, for the Wildcats here in their last 3 outs.
He replaces Jorge Rodriguez, who's 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Chicano will face Reed Bymiller, who has been outstanding the back half of this game. Only 3 pitchers used and really only 2 for FGCU tonight. Dempsey went 5 innings, allowed 4 runs on 6 hits, struck out 8. And Bymiller came in after Abreu only threw 3 pitches, and apparently was an injury risk there. Swing and a miss by Chicano. And it's at this point thrown 3 innings, 50 pitches, allowed a run on 2 hits, struck out 3, and walked just 1. Chicano still looking for his first hit as a Wildcat. 1 run in 6 at-bats with 2 RBI, both those on bases loaded walks. I should say bases loaded hit by pitches. He hasn't walked. He's been hit by 3 pitches and struck out 4 times. And he got plunked on the head. That's his 4th hit by pitch of the season in only 7 at-bats. And
you don't see a hit by pitch right to the dome like that much.
No. Here's Jose Fernandez, 2 for 4 with 2 singles.
Jose Fernandez.
Off the end of the bat foul. This is going to be one of the longer games the Wildcats have played this season, already over 3 hours, 30 minutes in the books here at the Jack. A lot of hits, a lot of runs, a lot of long innings. Fernandez skies this one to right center. Oh, nobody got it. Chicano trying to get the second. He is out. Well, that's unfortunate for the Wildcats because it just kind of dropped in the tricky triangle of uncertainty out there, and Chicano was caught completely unaware. And that's not really Chicano's fault. 99 times out of 100, maybe 999 times out of 1,000, that ball is caught and he has to retreat to first base.
Well, it's kind of par for the course with how this game has gone for the Wildcats. That ball just dropped into that abyss of no man's land right there in right center field, shallow right center field.
Now here's Mikey Rodriguez. 0 for 1 with a walk and 2 hit by pitches, been on 3 times, all 3 of the free pass. Has only advanced past first base once, that was in the 3rd. Fastball outside, 1-0. Called a strike, down and away, 1-1. We'll go again tomorrow at 6 p.m. Scheduled starters for that game, Edwin Sanchez for Bethune-Cookman, as there's a pitch upstairs, 2-1 on Rodriguez, and first team preseason All-Ace on Chris Diaz for FGCU. Then 1 o'clock on Sunday. Rodriguez swinging a drive down the right field line. That is well foul, but also maybe went almost 500 feet. That thing was absolutely launched. Unfortunately, all it counts as a strike. And it's 2-2 on Rodriguez. Your Friday pitching matchup will be predicted as Hunter Posel against Tanner Bocabello. Full count on Rodriguez, 1 out, bottom 9 in an 11-5 contest. Rodriguez rockets that into the glove of Nelson. He'll step on the bag, and of course it ended on a ridiculous Nelson defensive play. He's been so good over there at first. FGCU wins this one 11-5, and the Wildcats had the lead twice, but 4 home runs for FGCU. They pounded out 16 hits, and the pitching was spectacular, especially out of the bullpen by Reed Miller.
Literally the exact same play from earlier in the game over there at first base to close out this game, and it's going to be an interesting series. I know head coach Johnny Hernandez is not going to be happy with how his team competed at the plate today and wanting to see more offensive fire in these next 2 games, knowing that this is a series that can dictate a lot for his team. It can show a lot for his guys and really allow them to have some belief in themselves. FGCU just as advertised, right? They came out, pitched insanely well, batted around multiple times, and this is a team that has a bright future in the A-Sun who's going to come back and compete in these next 2 days too.
Final line score of this contest. Florida Gulf Coast scored 11 runs on 16 hits. They made 1 error and left 6 on base. For Bethune-Cookman, 5 runs on 9 hits. They committed 2 errors and left 11 on base. First pitch 7 p.m. Final out 10:35. Time of the ball game 3 hours and 35 minutes. 1 minute shy of that middle game against Delaware State last week, which was 3:36.
Just wanted to be under it.
The winning pitcher is Dempsey. And Harvey Abreu saddled with the loss tonight. Once again, your final score, FGCU 11, Bethune-Cookman 5. We'll be back tomorrow, 6 p.m. for Game 2 of this series. We hope you'll join us on the CatEye Radio Network and SWAC TV. For Jade Barquette, Bryce Reynoski, my name is Michael Terrillo. We'll see you tomorrow night. Hail Wildcats.